This episode is brought to you by Midwest Night Watchers, found everywhere on your favorite podcast platforms.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Night Owl Lounge.
Live from Illinois, it's Night Owl Lounge.
Live from Chicago.
No, we're not close to Chicago.
I know. But that's about the only city people know in Illinois. If they don't live in Illinois.
3 hours from Chicago, whatever you say it. Chicago?
Chicago.
Oh, Chilaga. It used to be Chilaga. Yeah, we're 3 hours from Chilaga.
Yeah. So I don't know. So we're going to show a few maps tonight about what we talked about last week, talking about the old Indian maps and maybe some old maps that don't show the Great Lakes and a little history on that. And we got some cryptid reports and probably a UFO thing. I don't know. We'll see how things go. Tonight's just a relaxed night where we hang out with everybody and chat. And we're glad to see you guys all in here.
Yep. Gonna hang out and have fun. Who knows what's gonna happen? You never know what to expect at a Night Owl Lounge.
Never know.
I see Dragonfly and Gemini Moon. We've got Daryl. We've got Clay that just had a good show, just mini doc. Is that what you call it? We got Red Pill Preacher. Yeah, somebody else was in here earlier. Red Pill Preacher. It was Dragonfly, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Dragonfly. Dragonfly. Welcome in, guys.
Yeah, glad you guys all made it tonight and decided to hang out with us for a while. Well, I don't know how long we go. Sometimes we go 2 hours. Sometimes we go 3 or 4. Just depends on how the night is and how you guys all are in chat. If you're all active and hanging out.
If they're behaving themselves.
Then if the UK people start popping in, then we go a little longer sometimes. You just never know.
There's Roger.
Hi, Roger.
Well,
so I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but we've been going live on Rumble as well as YouTube. YouTube is our main channel, but we've been going live on Rumble, and we've been doing movie nights on Fridays and Saturdays on Rumble only, because sometimes we play movies that might not be acceptable on YouTube. I don't know, kind of monster movies, old sci-fi movies. So
most of them are black and white.
I think both of them this coming week is going to be color.
Really? We're moving into color.
Well, we've done a couple color ones already, but
Lost in Space and
yep,
Kolchak is color.
Yeah. When you start, well, it's weird because some of them had color, but they chose not to use it, or they didn't want to buy expensive equipment to go to color. So even back then they had color. But then when you start getting in the 60s and 70s, almost everybody was color then. So, but yeah, we got some couple more episodes of Lost in Space. We got some Twilight Zones. I think we're going to have some One Step Beyonds on both nights, and Then I think we got a couple colored cinema movies that we're going to show at the end on both nights.
Ooh.
So if you guys want to hang out with us on Fridays and Saturdays on Rumble, we'll be showing, like we said, creepy old movies and TV shows, or they're not necessarily creepy all the time. Sometimes they're just funny, but they have a little bit of a mystery or suspense to them.
We might even have another cartoon night. That was a lot of fun watching all these old cartoons. Everyone had a blast that night.
Yeah, I even got a cartoon movie.
You do? A cartoon movie? Is it old?
Yeah.
I mean, an old cartoon movie?
Yeah, well, it was during my when I was growing up, but it's not like a Disney or anything like that, or anything that you would have saw. It's kind of like a Saturday afternoon rainy day movie that you would see.
Good old 60s.
It might have just been a TV movie. I can't remember, but I found it. I don't know what made me think of it, but I found it. I thought about playing that this weekend, but I thought, nah, I'm not really ready for cartoons again yet. Although we do have some more HR Puffin stuff, and next episode on that we have some more Underdog and Herculoids and Space Ghosts. So
HR Puffin stuff. Well, I thought of a movie that maybe we could watch on Rumble sometime.
Yeah,
remember that one movie that we couldn't figure out the name, and we finally figured it out. It was about those people way up north in the mountains, and they found this place. I think it was called Lost Horizon. It was kind of like a musical. We had to do that on a Rumble one of these nights. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yay. Gee, we must be married. We think alike.
Yeah, Clay said They Live. He's over on Rumble.
They Live.
That's a good one. We'll probably show that eventually. I got a whole list, whether they're monster movies, Godzilla, you know, all them that we remember, all the Japanese movies, and then I got this weird monster movies. We showed, you know, The Blob. We've showed other movies.
Johnny Quest, yeah. We
showed a lot
Johnny
of Vincent and Price movies we can show, whether it's the Wax Museum, The Pit and the Pendulum. If you want to get into Edgar Allan Poe, he did a lot of those kind of movies. And
hi, Derek.
Hi, Derek.
Red Pill said we did a whole show on the esoteric nature of the old Saturday morning cartoons. The predictive programming was strong even in the early 80s. Well, geez, we've had 60s and 70s. We really got messed with. So, yeah, but there was some pretty good cartoons. But yeah, you found some. I mean, talk about disclosure in some of these very first cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, we go into Johnny Quest, you know, and they all have this scientific stuff where they're showing stuff, you know, whether it's lasers and all kinds of things. The Space Ghost, you know, obviously you're up in space and you have these monsters or entities or aliens. And I mean, all those cartoons that we showed that first night was all stuff like that, where each one of them had just a little bit what we would consider soft disclosure.
Thank you, Clay. Midwest Night Watchers just broke 100 followers on Rumble.
All right.
Yeah.
We're slowly, YouTube kind of slowed down. We kind of hit a plateau once we reached our 1,000K subscribers, but we're slowly creeping up to 1.5 now. We broke the 1.4 barrier.
We're getting there.
So now we're creeping up to 1.5. But, you know, we're not monetized on YouTube. Rumble gives us monetization, if I can say it right. Monetization right away.
Monetization.
Yeah.
An instant monetization.
But other than that, we don't really, I mean, we are on Spotify, but we upload the videos later to Spotify, and some of our Sundays shows, which we have guests on, we talk about all kinds of subjects, whatever they're into, whether it's Bigfoot, cryptids, paranormal, any of that kind of aspect. and those are the ones that we upload to Spotify and the audio platforms. But these videos, like the Night Owl Lounge, just stay on YouTube and now Rumble.
Latro must have came in. We got Diaries of a Wandering Artist. Welcome in. I think someone said hi. Oh, okay. There is a Tracy. Hi, Tracy.
Yeah, did you see what she said? I think it was Tracy.
I probably missed it.
Yeah, well, my nickname was Witchy Poo. That's what her three brothers called her.
I always liked the flute, the talking flute.
I was watching one the other day, just going through the HR Puffin stuff, and they turned Freddie the flute into a mushroom.
What?
Yeah,
I remember that.
There were some bad mushrooms, kind of like the forest where they came alive during Wizard of Oz or whatever, the bad forests, you know.
And Witchy Poo kept putting spells on them.
Yeah, this was an unfriendly patch of mushrooms, and they turned the flute Freddie into a mushroom.
Derek said The Sting, 1973 movie, would be a great movie for a watch party.
Yeah, I like The Sting, but we're sticking with the paranormal and sci-fi and monsters and creepy stuff. We might eventually just get to just plain old great old movies, but right now we're going through the genre of the kind of to stick with the Night Owl Lounge and the Midwest Night Watcher theme, and sticking with the old sci-fi and monsters. I mean, there's just tons of movies that are great that we could play, but
it seemed like in the 60s growing up, there was nothing but monsters and the Chinese movies and creepy, weird, strange things, and aliens were starting to come out more popular.
I can't believe all the TV shows. When TV first started, you had like the Ford Theater, you had Lux, the soap company had their own little TV show that they would play movies, and there was actually a fourth network besides ABC, NBC, and CBS. There was another one that wasn't a mainstream, but they were just as popular as the three when they first came out. But then they eventually closed down, and somebody else bought their rights or whatever and turned it into, I don't know if it was Paramount bought them or somebody, one of the movie theaters, one of the movie industries bought them. But there was all kinds of shows where they did suspense shows or police shows or whatever the drama was for the day. But they had all these little not low budget, they were big companies. Ford and all these other companies were specifically showing these.
What's My Line?
Yeah, like What's My Line?
And then Red Pill said Dark Shadows. That was interesting in the 60s.
I thought about showing those, but it's kind of boring, some of them, because it's basically a soap opera. But
right, it's a soap opera. Yeah,
it's around a vampire family. But I thought about it. I watched the first couple. I watched it as a kid, or my brothers and sisters watched it, and I remember it from then anyway. But
I remember watching it, but I was pretty young. And then Latro said he needs a screaming goat fix. There you go. This is the night that the goat gets loose.
Yeah, a lot of the shows, just like Gemini said, Lost in Space does kind of get, I mean, even though it's kind of hokey to us now, but at the time it was kind of creepy with the monsters and the things, and Penny and them almost every week getting ready to die, or somebody was getting ready to get eaten by a monster or fall down a cliff or on another planet, or
Dr. Smith did something again.
Dr. Smith always does. Always. Yeah, I thought about, since we're doing Lost in Space, I thought about doing other ones like Dark Shadows, but I don't know if anybody would stick around to watch all the series of Dark Shadows since it's just a soap opera. But
Red Pill said Collins family is one of the 13 bloodline families.
oh,
Is that how it started in the 60s?
no, I didn't know anything about that.
I wonder how long it lasted. A year, 2 years? I don't think it was on very long. And then after that, all kinds of soap operas popped up.
Hi, Claudette.
Hi, Claudette.
I did mention, I think it was last week or maybe a couple weeks in a row, about how the Rockefellers and some of the other prominent families that we tend to say have a big say in the control of how things.
Illuminati.
Yeah. How things happen, that the royal family, who had an empire, still do, but not as, it's not as prominent as it used to be, but controlled the world. But they sold their bloodline to these rich families. So they sold off their babies, they sold off their daughters, their sons to continue the bloodline. And so that's why their bloodline's so mixed up, and that's why they're so rich. When they actually didn't have any money for a long time. They were going broke until they got the infusion from these other people.
We got bacon being thrown in chat.
We got bacon. Hey,
hi, Cisco.
How you doing?
We got bacon from Cisco. Thank you. Midnight bacon.
That's right.
Well, it's not really midnight. It's 10:17 here.
No, but it will be midnight eventually. It'll creep up on us.
Yeah, we're talking about creepy things. Just right up your alley.
Yeah.
And Lost in Space and all the creepy monsters.
Trying to think of what else was creepy when I was a kid. There was a lot of stuff that we used to watch that was creepy.
Midget wrestling.
Midget. I guess that could be creepy. I mean, my gosh, they even had, just like we talked about before, everybody talks about how a $6 million man had to fight Bigfoot.
I don't remember that. In the show, he was fighting a Bigfoot?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
So I guess I could get that and we could play that one of these nights.
Who won? Oh, I don't remember that one.
But as far as TV shows, as far as like the Night Stalker, I mean, I don't know how you beat the stories in the Night Stalker. Especially
Andre the Giant was Bigfoot.
Yeah. Just like when we played The Thing, where the monster in that was James Arnaz, Matt Dillon. Then you get into Star Trek and all that stuff, where they had a lot of weird entities and stuff and planets they went to and different things. A lot of celebrities in that, just like Twilight Zone. We keep showing Twilight Zone. It has all these. They became famous, or just names that everybody would know when they first started out. We had William Shatner on it a lot. We have a lot of people from Bewitched on all these. We have just Robert Duvall. There's just all kinds of people that we know today as mainstream names, but they started out in these small little parts and all these little, just to get out there and get in film and TV.
And they were so young.
Fun to watch those.
Some of them are so young. It's like, wow.
Yeah, there was one, I think it's One Step Beyond, that has Elizabeth Montgomery in it, but it's such bad quality that I didn't grab it show, because even though some of the close-ups you can tell it's her, but the quality of the show must have got messed up before. Hi, Amber.
Hi, Amber. Amber.
It must not have been able to restore it or something very good, because it was pretty bad quality. I thought about doing it. I mean, you can do that actually. There's like every character almost in Bewitched that's in one of these early TV programs, whether it's
And she was, yeah, and then Darren.
Yeah, Dick York and Elizabeth Montgomery and the mother, and then Uncle Arthur. He was in some of them. I mean, you could just do one show, a whole show one night, just of everybody that was on Bewitched that were playing in all these weird shows.
William Shatner on the airplane.
There's like 5. There's at least 3. I think William Shatner is on Twilight Zone. Different ones, but that's his most famous one, I think, that I like anyways, where he sees the gremlin on the airplane.
Oh no. Everyone lift up Amber's little mini me.
No, that's
We
too
got hurt at practice tonight. Oh, give her a big hug from all of us. We love her. Uh-oh. Man. That's gotta stink. First mom's ankle. Now the daughter's out. I'm sorry, Amber. Uncle Arthur.
I mean, actually, we could show a Bewitched. I mean, it's got paranormal and witchcraft and stuff in it.
Just on Rumble.
That would fit in our movie night. Just playing to Bewitched, especially the early black and white ones.
Yeah, everyone's praying for Amber's daughter.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, Amber. I hope she heals well and
gets back.
Hope nothing is broken or didn't get cut by a blade or anything like that.
I know she's enjoying this figure skating.
I was kind of worried at times when Skylar was playing ice hockey and
playing actual hockey.
Yeah, the youth league where she was out there, and
she was like 5th grade when she was doing that.
They were slamming people against the ball. I mean, the kids were rough, man. They were. Hi, Rosie.
Hey, Rosie, welcome in.
Diaries of a Wandering Artist.
What happened? Just came in. We haven't really done much. We're just kind of
hanging out talking right now. We haven't got to anything.
Yeah, we're just kind of jabbering, talking about old TV shows and some of the movies that we've been showing on Rumble. Friday and Saturday night around 10 o'clock Central. I don't know if you told people that.
No, I did not.
Yeah, 10 o'clock Central time.
Yeah, we kind of wait for a couple of our friends to get their shows over because we're moderators or we're in chat hanging out. So we don't want to step on their space, even though our viewers on Rumble probably don't go to their channels anyway. But we kind of, just out of respect, we kind of wait for them to get done. So we picked 10 p.m. Central. Seems to fit pretty good.
Yeah, we got Dennis on Friday night. We got Jessica on Saturday night. And then we head over and watch movies. Black and white.
That's kind of why we picked the 10 p.m. on this night, Wednesday nights, because we wait for Dennis to get done. We have we have Jessica, and then we have Dennis and
Andy. Wednesdays is busy for us. We're modding for Jessica, then we're modding for Andy over in the UK, and then we got Dennis. And there's some people in between. Dwarfy pops on once in a while, and then it's us. Wednesdays are busy.
Clay shows his video. Condensed Reality shows his little documentaries on Wednesdays. Then Mondays, I'm with Dr. Dennis Carroll on his show. It was going to be on our channel because I reached out to ask Dennis, hey, let's get back together, because we did a Saturday, Sunday morning show with William Nighthawk. And then we kind of started doing our own stuff. And then I got back hold of Dennis. Hey, let's get together and do a show again, talk about some weird and different stuff. And so we were going to do it on our channel. And then it became both channels. And then finally I said, you know what, Dennis, let's just do it on your channel so we don't have to worry about the logistics of getting everything going. So Road Less Traveled, 9 p.m. Eastern on Dennis Carroll's Hunting the Shadows.
Good night, Amber.
Night, Amber.
Welcome in, Kyle. Welcome in, Kyle. We're seeing people like the fourth time today, I think.
Yeah, that's great. We see the same family and friends that we watch in everybody else's chats and channels, and then slowly but surely they pop over here or find us.
Hey, Kat. We got such a good family and good community.
Yeah, Kathita, how you doing?
Yes, they do, Red Pill. I agree. Girl and Dennis have a really interesting show on Monday nights, talking about things that people don't talk about that much. The road less traveled.
Yeah, it's fun. I like talking with Dennis. He's just so knowledgeable and he brings up so much different stuff. And I tend to gravitate towards pictures and maps and a little bit here and there, a little bit of knowledge of subjects here and there. But Dennis, for whatever reason, no matter what you bring up, he seems like he has a story to go along with it, or he's hunted it or investigated it or something.
Yep. Rhoda says, I've been watching you two for years now. Lost track. We've been in this community I've been in it a lot longer than Gerald because he was working. And then you just by chance kind of started hopping on also. So yeah, it's been like 4 years or so, but yeah, 2 years of our podcast, almost 2 years exactly. The end of March will be 2 years. We just kind of hopped on and had fun and just kept on going.
Yeah, this seems like it was yesterday, but then again, it seemed like it was so long ago when we first started.
That I've been watching Jessica probably for like 4 years, and I've been in YouTube for many, many years.
Hi, Monisha.
Hey, Monisha. And then just getting to know people and then finding more channels. And then you see the same people in the chat and you go, hey, I know you.
I know you.
I know you.
Well, let's see. We've been talking almost 30 minutes already. I guess we could do a Creepy Acres or something.
Sure. They're always fun looking at the cool drawings.
Unless somebody in chat has something they want to bring up before we get rolling in a couple of these subjects.
Oh, they're still saying hi to each other.
Oh, all right. Well, that's fine too. That works. So yeah, we try to bring up anything on this date or close to this date when we air our Wednesday shows. Anything close to it that deals with the paranormal or cryptids or anything, even UFOs.
I still can't believe it's March already.
I know. It's just flying by.
Yeah, it's almost the middle of March already.
Yeah, it'll be your birthday.
Crazy.
It'll be your birthday coming up soon.
Shh.
Shh. I didn't say when. I just said soon.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah, it'll be a big old 63.
All right.
Whoop, whoop.
We're going to have to get you signed up for Social Security.
Red Pill just turned 45. Shh. Yeah. Red Pill just turned 45 on the 8th.
45. Wow.
I'm going to lose my born in 62 and turn 62 That's no longer going to be available because I'm going to be 63.
Aw,
Oh, well. That was a fun year.
I still got a couple years for mine.
Well, you're just a young pup. You're younger than me.
I know. You cougar.
Oh, yeah, a year and a half. I'm a cougar.
Well,
Year
I
and a
don't
half.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my. Crazy for crying.
All right. While everybody's still saying hi to each other, let's go ahead and
Yeah.
we'll do one at least. I think we have a couple that are new since the last time we talked. So this is for March 7th. This is the closest one starting off. So stories of strange. I should have read it. Cephalopod. Cephalopod?
What?
I don't know. I guess I should have practiced before I got brought it up. That's what happens when you just bring them up and start reading them. Stories of strange cephalopods, like creatures haunting the dark corners of the states like Indiana, Kentucky, Oklahoma, West Virginia, and Ohio. I don't know. I'm surprised they're not in Illinois. Have been reported for decades, but the story of the oil pit squids is unique. Unlike those other tales, these creatures were discovered in great numbers. And instead of living in water, they were thriving in an environment of toxic sludge.
Ew.
Was it merely a hoax, or do unknown multi-tentacle creatures live undiscovered among us? Wow.
It's all right, Cat. She accidentally did caps. Maybe Cisco needs a goat too.
Yeah, she needs a goat or a ghost or something for her.
Yeah, there's probably a screaming ghost or something like that. Yeah.
I would think so. So here is the story and the image. That they brought up. And I'll zoom in on the drawing. There's the drawing of I guess it kind of looks like a squid or
Almost looks like
octopus or something.
a combination of an octopus.
Does it have like 4 eyes?
Yeah, I see 4 eyes.
So I guess it lives in the oil field or the sludge or whatever that I don't know. So once again, this is an article or a drawing and picture from Creepy Acres. So it says today in Creepy History, 7th of March, 1997, Anderson, Indiana. Investigators arrive at the General Motors Delphi plant number 7 after state environmental authorities receive an anonymous report of illegal hazardous waste activity. So they must have been dumping their waste somewhere. That's not good. At the plant, the source also claims that the unusual growth is taking place in an on-site pit used for oil, antifreeze, and other chemical waste. The unusual growth was uncovered 4 months earlier on November 15th, 1996, when plant employees discovered bizarre unidentified creatures living in a toxic sludge or the waste pit. Wow. So I wonder if they grew up to be great big like cryptid monsters or if they were just like small things.
You're still growing.
The grayish red squid-like creatures were reportedly 8 to 9 inches long, had tentacles-like appendages, and possibly eyes. Am I reading that right? Possibly eyes? That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway. The startled plant workers put one of the creatures into a jar before cleaning up the facility. The investigators would find no signs of the creatures, and the captured specimen had in the meantime vanished. While it would be easy to dismiss the story as merely a hoax, it may be worth mentioning that 37 years earlier, a similar creature was reported encountered living in an abandoned cistern, a small family farm in Randolph County, only 48 miles away. That's weird. So once again, here's their rendition of, although they didn't make it reddish, I think it said reddish in the description.
It does look like 4 eyes. But is it webbed together, or are those things separate, or is it just
No, they're all separate.
glowing?
They're like separate. They got them as like separate tentacles, or like
Things
a
just glowing?
or but this is there. But it does look like there could be like a thin web in between the body and the main arms, and I don't know.
It's the hybrid that went bad.
Maybe that's the goo sticking to them and got like an oily film in between all their tentacles. I don't know. So there you go for the March 7th, 1997. This one didn't give it a name. Usually they give them names for all these weird things. So it says grayish red, so I guess it is gray. Squid-like creature.
Welcome back, cat. Ghostly cat.
So it lived in used oil, antifreeze, and other chemical wastes. Wow. So there you go.
Red pill. I didn't know you had an alter ego, Ghostlore. That's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, because when Ghostlore's on there, she's all sweet and nice, and then when she's Catheta, she's kind of snarky, and at least to me anyway. When I talk to her, she's always Catheta.
I don't have more than one. That's our little secret. That's funny.
Well, what was that? Six Faces of Eve. That was the big book and movie back in the day. Yeah, go to First Floor Audio, and you never know who's going to show up. Catheta, Ghostlore.
Or she goes, oops, wrong account. Hold on, I'll switch.
She definitely puts the boys in their place when she needs to. That's for sure. When she's over on Lee's channel.
There you go.
Oh, Diaries of the Wandering Artist says, I saw something somewhere, but didn't have eyes. Oh, he was breathing and moving.
Oh, wow. You got me 3 times.
All right. So what do we do? What do you want to do? Anything? Just keep talking to everybody?
I don't know. Let me know.
So I think we do have one more.
And we do have
creepy history report. Oh.
almost move in unison.
Red ball of worms. Red ball or worms. Ew.
Yeah, you know what tomorrow night is?
What?
The 13th going into the 14th. We're supposed to have with the eclipse, blood moon.
Yeah,
And it is called the worm moon because it's springtime and the worms are supposed to come out of the ground.
wow.
So this full moon is called a worm moon, I guess. Blood moon, but it's worm moon because of the earthworms will be coming out.
Yeah, so you got to follow the seasons if you go by the supermoon names or the Native American names for the moons, I guess. But growing up, I never heard anything about
I didn't.
super moons or even the Native American moons, whether it was beaver moon or harvest moon or what, rose moon. I never ever heard those terms growing up, but I could have just been out of the loop. Maybe my parents or family didn't follow that stuff. I don't know.
So it was like Thursday going into Friday. So it's kind of like, it's Thursday, but then it's actually Friday. or I don't think it's Friday going into Saturday. I think it was the 13th going into the 14th. And it's supposed to be around noon, not noon, midnight Eastern time or something like that. I got to look it up.
So, Ghost Lore says, do not, warning, look up fat bottom goats.
Okay, I won't.
So I think we're supposed to look it up, but at the same time, we're not supposed to look it up because it's probably
warning
bad.
Why don't mummies take vacations? They're afraid they'll relax and unwind. That's a good one.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't had joke night in a while.
No.
We need Blazer. He hasn't been feeling good, so he's probably sleeping. We need some dad jokes going.
Some dad jokes.
I cannot be more clear. They are simply fat bottomed goats.
Oh.
Red Pill said that's worse than look it up twerking Karens.
Oh my gosh.
What do you call a monster who poisons cornflakes? A serial killer. What do you call a man named Nobody without a nose? No nose? No one knows?
Yeah, nobody knows. No one knows. Yeah.
Nobody knows?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. The trouble Garrel's been in.
I'm always in trouble. At least according to you.
No, I've heard the stories when you're a little kid.
Oh, that's
and
all.
A teenager.
That's all made up folklore stuff.
Mythology.
Can't prove any of it. There's no pictures, no videos.
No evidence.
It's like getting a blurry picture of Bigfoot or
no evidence of you jumping off the bridge
there
into
ain't
the
nothing.
river. No.
Just stories that float around.
A doghouse mansion. What do you call a guy with no arms, no legs? A doghouse mansion. Matt, yeah. Matt with no arms, no legs. What do you call a haunted chicken? A poultrygeist.
I remember what was the TV show? The Angry Ones or the Young Ones? It was I think it was like a British comedy, but they
Young Ones. I don't remember that.
They always called the paranormal stuff poltergeist.
Poltergeist?
Yeah. I think it was from the UK. I think it was the Young Ones.
Yeah, folklore is not really acceptable history for the normies.
Yeah, it's all a myth.
Doghouse Mansion, Girl City stays in trouble.
I don't think I get in trouble, but
That's because you never got caught by your mom or dad.
or they didn't care. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things when you're grew up in the time that we grew up. Just as long as the police didn't show up to your house or bring you home, you're considered okay, I guess.
Yeah, but what about the trouble that you guys almost caused down at the carnival? Because your brother or something.
I did not cause that.
There was something about your brother or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. So do not get the two mixed up. It was not my problem. I was there, but it was not me.
Wasn't there cops involved?
There was cops and state police. And they were talking about the National Guard coming in, and yeah, it wasn't a very good night for some people.
Don't mess with us little town folk.
But after all said and done, they turned their backs and said, "You can all leave now, and no arrests, no reports. Just a lot of damage and a lot of I don't know. I probably shouldn't tell the story, so I'll shut up."
You never know who's watching. Oh my. And then what?
That is, I got this is good enough to bring up on screen. Am I the only one apparently who had to bail their grandmother out of jail for making 250 gallons of moonshine? I honestly cannot say that I've had to do that.
Oh my gosh, that was funny. Oh. It's a felony just telling the story?
I think there was no charges pressed if we're talking about my story.
That was years ago. You were in high school, weren't you?
I'm trying to think.
Or you were in junior high and your brother was in high school.
Yeah, I was young. I was still in school, and let's just say there was out-of-towners that came in and was causing some trouble, and my brother got in the middle of it and took the rough end of the deal, and the rest of the town and pretty much the whole county, pretty much a bunch of farm boys and everybody else, and some pretty big and rowdy people came into town and took care of some business, and big enough crowd that it filled a whole Central Park. Although our park's not big, but it filled up the whole Central Park and the streets, and they had to get the obviously our small community policemen couldn't handle it, so then they got the county, and then it went to the state, and then they were thinking they might have to bring in the National Guard before it was all over, but the police chief of our town went to my brother's house and begged him, even though he was hurting from the earlier brawl or whatever you want to call it, to come downtown and talk to the people over a blowhorn to tell everybody to please leave. And so that's what happened.
That was way before my time in this town.
So needless to say, the out-of-towners that I'm talking about travel, and they have campers and stuff and set up every for celebrations, all their trailers and food food things got tipped over and broke, and they all went to their cars and vehicles and started leaving because they were definitely afraid, and they had every right to be afraid because it was not going to end well.
Just think, if we had internet back then, you guys probably would have been on YouTube.
We didn't even have cell phones. There wasn't
nothing back then.
I tell you what.
This is in the early 70s, probably.
However it got around, it was county-wide and might even reached out past our county. I don't know. There were so many people that showed up. It was unreal.
Those were the days. Dwarfy.
So without going too deep into it, that's pretty much the gist of it. So I if you wonder why your Ferris wheel tickets cost $20 now, it's probably to make up for
that night. It's because of Carol.
Or your corn dogs cost $7 now. It's probably because of not inflation, but because they're still recuperating from their losses.
Right.
Anyway, let's do a cryptid report.
Yeah.
Let's get off that subject.
Good evening, Dwarfy.
Hi, Dwarf.
Dwarfy.
If anybody else sneaked in while I was ranting or not really reminiscing, but it was a memorable moment in my life.
Dip Dog. Cat said Steve's talked to mentioned the other night. Dip Dog. Corn dog, corny dog, dip dog.
Corn dog. I love corn dogs. I haven't had one in a long time though, or not as much as I used to.
Hey, Susan, welcome in.
Hi, Susan.
And I'm going to touch up my coffee while you're starting to read the report.
All right, we'll do one. Well, we got another creepy history report from Creepy Acres. And you can find them on Facebook, YouTube, all the social media. And I post these stories also on our Facebook group of Midwest Night Watchers on Facebook. So if you want to go to that group, we have a group and a page. So you can look at the pictures yourself if you miss them, or read the stories yourself. So it says, today in Creepy History for the 8th of March, 1913. Hi, Jason. So it says Africa still holds many mysteries, and one of them is the Nandi bear, named after the Nandi people region where it has been reported numerous times over the years, most recently reported in February of 1998. The mysterious beast has been blamed for the slaughter of livestock and children alike. Oh, livestock and children. Oh, my gosh. Speculation of the Nandi bear's identity is varied. Some suggest it's simply an unknown species of bear or an oversized hyena, while others think it's a large unknown type of baboon. Others believe it to be a relic population of, oh, here we go again. I should have read this earlier. Pachecrocuta, a giant short-faced hyena thought to have gone extinct 400,000 years ago. The Nandi still remains unidentified. So let's share this picture and the main story that they have for Creepy Acres. So it does look like a hyena to me. That looks like...
Hi again, Jason. Yeah, that looks like a hyena.
But the way they drew it, it makes me think that it's bigger than a normal hyena. I wonder if it still made the same laughing noise, or the kind of looks like it has a badger face too, or I don't know. But hyenas do look like that, so it says today in Creepy History, 8th March, 1913. 9 a.m. British East Africa, now southern Kenya. Railway engineer G.W. Hicks travels alone by motor trolley along the newly installed tracks of the Majida Railroad when he spots a large animal 50 yards ahead. At first, he mistakes the creature for a hyena, but soon realizes it's far too large. See, that's what I thought. It looks larger than what you'd normally think a hyena would be, but the creature is the size of a lion.
Oh, my.
It's covered in long, tawny, shaggy fur and has a thick body. High withers. What are high withers? I don't know what a wither is. So if anybody in chat knows what a wither is, let us know, because I'm not familiar with that term.
If it got on just twos, could it have been a dog man? But then on all fours, it kind of reminded them of a giant hyena.
Well, when we talked to Mr. E about that, he has a whole book or a story about hyenas and dogman being mistaked for each other. Some people could have been seeing these great big giant, kind of like this thing, this great big giant hyena, and they can stand on their, they can be bipedal at times.
And Sasquatch are on all fours sometimes also. It makes you wonder.
Dragonfly says long legs.
Wonder what the tail looked like. Does it say anything about a tail?
Well, I haven't got through the whole story yet, so I don't know.
I'll just drink my coffee and shut up.
Says shaggy fur and has a thick body, high withers, a wide rump, a stumpy nose, small ears, large feet, and no visible tail. So there you go.
No visible tail. Do hyenas have a tail?
I do not know. I think
Dragonfly said there's 4 types of hyenas.
Oh, wow.
Withered could be like animal hips.
All right. High withers. All right, so it has high hips. I don't know. So where was I? It has large feet, no visible tail. The animal turns and lopes away. Hicks determines that the creature is an unknown bear. I think it'd be hard to mistake it. I mean, I guess it kind of has you could maybe mistake it for a bear face. Maybe if you just look at the face itself, maybe. And it's giant and furry. I don't know.
Well, it depends on what time of day. If it was kind of dusk and starting to get dark too, it could have resembled a bear.
So Hicks determines that the creature is an unknown bear that several of the railway construction workers have reported seeing. Skeptics claim that it is impossible, as the only species of bear known to exist in Africa was located 3,000 miles away in Libya's Atlas Mountains and was hunted to extinction in 1870. Hicks is unable to stop his trolley to investigate further, as several other engineers are waiting for him further up the line. Unfortunately, any thoughts he has of returning to look for tracks are soon washed away by rain. This mysterious bear beast still remains unidentified. So there you go.
Cat, it is Mr. E, capital E, and it is Cryptids of the Corn. And his name is Justin, right? Justin.
Yeah, Justin.
And it's Cryptids of the Corn YouTube. And he was on, when was that? About a month ago. We were talking about jellyfish and orbs and strange things in the sky.
Yeah, we've had him on a couple times. We talked about UFO mushrooms and talked
very
about
intelligent
jellyfish, and we've talked about Bob.
Yeah. Very intelligent guy.
Yeah, it was a great discussion, and
love
having him on.
Just the letter E, Mr. E.
Mr. E is is his nickname or the name that the chat or whoever gave him. But yeah, his first name is Justin. Oh, Jason says withers are the animal's shoulders. So it does look like
high shoulders.
High, so it does look like he has the hump there, and hyenas do have that hump there, and lions when they walk, they get that. All cats get that shoulder going up.
Oh, yeah, even a bear when he's kind of walking.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Just go, March 8th, 1913.
Some of these things just look like they were crossbred. But 1913.
Almost reminds me of that song, Took a Little Trip.
Took a little trip.
1913, took a little trip. But that's not how the song goes.
Who's been stung by a jellyfish? Not me.
Not me. I have been in the ocean.
Yeah, I've seen them from a distance.
But mostly I've been in rivers and lakes and ponds and creeks. But a couple of times I've been in the ocean, but never stung by anything.
No, I've been touched by electric fence.
Yeah, electric fence. I've felt that.
My grandma had electric fence around the chicken area, and yeah, we touched it when we were kids. Like, oh yeah, that was strong.
Usually my brother's fault.
Yeah, hey, touch that wire. Zap.
Thank God he never had me pee on it when I was a little kid. So. So yeah, cryptids are fun. I mean, who knows? I mean, it could be a weird species of some animal that we know. I mean, you know, I didn't realize it, but you know, there was a lot of animals here in North America. We even had elephants. You can look up where elephants were native to, like the Tennessee, Kentucky area. We had
the hieroglyphs, right?
Huh?
The hieroglyphs, the drawings and stuff.
Well, we had mastodons, but we also had elephants.
We used to have a lot of buffalo too.
I mean, just like Illinois, where we live, you know, we had big cats, we had bears, we had all kinds of stuff. And then on the cryptid side, we've had reports of giant thunderbirds. We obviously have Mothman now. We have Bigfoot. We have werewolf reports. We have Dogman reports. So, I mean, and I'm sure every state probably somewhere in the U.S. probably has their own cryptids or reports just as much as Illinois, but Illinois was rated 5 in some lists for Bigfoot reports, and there's just as many Dogman and werewolf reports also.
I think they're all.
I should probably say that different. There's probably more Bigfoot reports in Illinois than any of the others, but we do have a lot of Mothman. We do have Dogman and werewolf reports also.
Yeah, Chicago.
Shalaga.
I keep scared. I can't remember that. Shalaga. Chuck, rib, loin, round, plank, brisket. That'll do, LOL.
How'd we get on that? Are we having steak? I'm
not sure. I think she's planning on killing some animal.
Oh.
Coast to coast, LA to Shalagala.
That's right.
Shalagala.
But you know, you can look up on these old maps, and a lot of them use the Native. I should say, I grew up when it was Indians, but Native American names for all the settlements. So they had settlements, and Shalaga could have been just a region, but everybody speculates that it was what the Native Americans called that area or that settlement or village territory that they lived in. and that's how we got the name Chicago. But I mean, I kind of see it, but I kind of don't see Chicago in that.
One video I was watching was talking about some of these old maps. The towns are gone, or they changed the names to them to kind of probably throw off the old maps. What do they call Bigfoot in Europe? Big meter. Good dad joke I found. Yeah, it's a good one, Rosie.
Huh. So did you pick out a UFO?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it ready here. I'm gonna pull up Uncle Gomer's picture.
Well, I think it's this one. I
My
think this is the one that we
Gomer.
decided. I have a lot of them on here because I kept changing it all the time. So I think it's this one.
My great Uncle Gomer. Anyone who don't know, my grandmother's brother had a column in a newspaper back in the 50s, and he died in 1960. So all of his articles are in the 1950s. And some of them, he went down the paranormal realm and talked about UFOs and strange things. And boy, did they put some interesting stuff in the newspapers back then before they were told no. Welcome in, Moon at Noon.
I don't know if I had that on.
Oh, a different picture?
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm just, for some reason, I thought I had it. There, I did.
And so anyway, I ended up getting a box of my mother's stuff that she collected UFO articles. And come to find out, this little black book was Uncle Gomer, and I had no idea. I knew who Gomer was. My grandma talked about him all the time. But I had no idea he did a newspaper column for the Peoria Journal-Star back in the 1950s, and some of them are on UFOs. So, and that's the picture of what he looks like. And I hope that my light is good enough that I can read this. This is February 1956, way before Carol and I were even born. You know, everyone knows about the Caterpillar plane. We've got how many around here, Carol? 4, 3?
Oh, there's a lot in Illinois.
But
or at least there used to be a lot in Illinois.
Yeah, back then we probably had a lot more. Yeah, a lot of them closed up. This is called UFO over Caterpillar, February 1956. Sir, in the past months, your column has been discussing books on the UFOs, unidentified flying objects, more commonly called flying saucers. I am no expert on any subject, but from what I've seen and read on the UFOs, I'm convinced that certainly some of the sightings and observations were true accounts. In 1948, at about 2:30 in the morning, I saw a gigantic, those are capital letters, and I underlined that word, gigantic, for it was just that, gigantic object hovering over the Caterpillar plant or in the immediate vicinity. I was on the Peoria side of the river at that time. Oh, so this must be East Peoria Caterpillar plant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're like I said.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I was on the Peoria side of the river at that time and was alone. I was astonished at what I was witnessing. The only sound was a gentle hiss, like steam escaping. From the round contour of the object, a pale glow pulsed. It seemed at times as if I was looking through a cloudy window, seeing a moving object between a light and myself. I estimated it as 500 to 1,000 feet above the Earth. The moon was full. At times, the object moved and the movement was fluid, no jerking. After about 5 minutes, it rose into the upper air and just went out of sight. What I saw was no illusion, hallucination, or result of mental disorder. I thought that was funny. It was there. What I have described may be poorly put, but it was as I have written it. Surely there must have been an explanation for this sort of thing. Sightings such as this one, are common and have been seen for centuries. Someday it will be explained. Huh. Well, if this was back in the 50s, sorry, dude, it wasn't explained yet. Okay, magnetic fields are a tremendous source of unlimited power. Beyond the speed of light, there is a power greater than man understands. Surely the supreme being of the universe isn't small or selfish. In my heart and mind, I know there are worlds and worlds of countless universes beyond our own. Someday everything will be made known. Maybe the makers of the UFOs have gone through the trials and tribulations on the earth of what we are going through. Sorry about that. This is old newspapers. And have conquered space flight. After all, they aren't belligerent. They have done no harm to us. Well, what use would they be of making atomic energy and nuclear weapons? That is probably what the UFO people want to know. Perhaps all this is no interest to you, but I thought you might want to know what I witnessed. If it is any use to you, please do so as you see fit. H.L. Knaps. Dum, 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 dum. So, yeah, I'm guessing that would have been the East Peoria Caterpillar plant if he was on the Peoria side of the river. Interesting. And that was back in the 50s, and boy, you don't hear reports in the newspaper anymore.
Right.
That's a shame.
So anyway, I brought up that we were asked in chat about this picture. And I just left it up there because this is Jane's great uncle, and he did a newspaper article on UFOs and other things in a regional newspaper, a pretty big circulated newspaper in our area from the 50s. And so we took it upon ourselves, since we're given a bunch of his articles and Jane's mother's UFO reports that she's collected over the years. We decided to continue it and do it on our channel. So that's why we have this logo, and we also have it available on t-shirts in our merchandise store. So that's why I brought the logo up, just because it's the segment that we're doing right at the moment on UFOs. Not to cover our faces or anything, but
yeah, it was to cover me up while I was reading. Yeah, I'm blessed having all these articles. There's not a lot of them from his column, but we do have a folder of just filled with newspaper clippings that my mother saved. So yeah, we're going to start digging. There's books in there, so we'll start digging into the books and clippings. It may not be every Wednesday night, so we haven't done one for a couple weeks, so we thought we'd do one tonight.
What if we hear of a report of a UFO in our area, or somebody else has a report and they share it with us, and we'll read it during this time on Wednesday nights during our UFO reports. And we have read a couple other ones that have came out of reports, because I found one that a couple weeks ago or whenever it was that kind of like the cryptid report, or it kind of matched the date that we're in or closest to the show. So I thought I'd read it. So If y'all have any UFO reports that match this time of year or something like that, go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, I thought I'd show them that some of these are going to be, the newspaper's getting yellow. So it's an old black book with black paper. I don't know, it's mainly for photographs.
Yeah,
for pictures.
It's
Yeah,
an old
for
photo
pictures.
album or
So there's only one that was really kind of messed up, and that was the one about my grandfather seeing a UFO while he was farming, and they had some blotches and stuff on. We
Yeah,
were able to figure out what the missing words were. and
yeah,
got,
that was quite an adventure figuring that out. Then we were able to read the whole story here on our show, so that was fun.
So and then
speaking of Mothman, I got my Mothman shirt on tonight.
oh,
Even though we're not talking about Mothman necessarily, but we have brought up Chicago a few times.
Schlagala,
Shalaga.
Chicago. Welcome in, Tammy.
So the name of the article, I don't know if everybody heard it at the time, but it was called "Straw in the Wind," and it was by Gomer Bath,
Which is my dad's mom's brothers, my dad's uncle, which would have been my great uncle. I know we looked online, you can't find any of the articles or anything, and way back in the day.
We still need to get a hold of a library or the newspaper itself to see if they have any microfilm of.
There's got to be a milk microfilm, maybe Peoria Library or something that we'd have to do some searching. We don't know if it was a daily column, a weekly column. I don't know. All the relatives that I could ask are all passed away. So I did not realize he actually did a column. I knew my grandma talked to him, about him a lot. But that was way back in the day before I was even born. So actually, he died before I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he passed away in 60, and then I was born in 62. So I didn't even get to know him.
Hey, Latro.
Welcome back, Latro. Holy Orion. Gary, what was that last shirt we kept laughing about? I forgot.
The what?
You mean the shirt that we're going to be doing? You mean this? Was it Space Penguins? Or was it something that Gary was wearing?
I don't know.
Did you hear about the alien who was obsessed with the moon?
One I was wearing. I don't remember that. Well, what was the last shirt we kept laughing about?
You had a mushroom with something beaming up in it, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a mushroom. I had a UFO mushroom shirt with, I think it was alien in it.
Or was it all the cryptids on a dinosaur or something?
I had Bigfoot and Mothman and Jackalope and all them riding on a Loch Ness monster with. And then I had Mountain Dude Man. Oh, she says mushroom.
Yeah, mushroom UFO. Yeah, it was probably the big mushroom UFO beaming up.
That's kind of what the that's kind of what the logo that you just brought up was for the t-shirt that we're going to put up on our website for the Space Penguins, because they had a mushroom shaped UFO. So I had brought this up a little while ago, and we've talked about it a couple times. This and bringing up the name Shalaga, which we attribute to the Native Americans of our area.
Welcome in, Blues Cruise.
So I went ahead and downloaded some more maps and a few more things about this area. Which the thing to me that is so strange is that they don't depict the Great Lakes in this.
But they make them look long.
Well, those are rivers. Those are the waterways coming in. So I'm not necessarily thinking that these points are anything to do with the Great Lakes, other than that's where Lake Michigan would be, possibly. I don't know, unless Nova means Great Lake. But I don't think so, because I think this map is called Nova something. But up here it says Canada. So the Great Lakes should be all right in all through here, but very strange. So I thought we'd talk a little more about that tonight, even though we don't really have subject matter. It's kind of fun once in a while to bring something up that we've been talking about. And yeah, see, I don't know how to read this map as far as what they were trying to depict to us. That I think this is a waterway or a main tributary that was there.
Do you have a date on that map?
15 something. I don't know exactly. I'd have to look it up.
Possibly before a mud flood. Yeah, Robin just asked too. Hi, Robin.
I think, and I got several maps from the 1500s, and a lot of them are used, I think, the same kind of image as this depicted, and they're all from around that 1500s, 1570, 15 something range. So this is obviously a newer image of the map that we're talking about. But some of the maps also have California, not like this, but as an island. And we talked about that on one of our other shows about how they depicted California as an island. But here, you have a big body of water up here, or whatever that is, up in Canada, and a smaller one here. But then there's no Great Lakes, and then here you have Shalaga again, which we're saying Chicago, or is in the general area where Chicago should be. I was looking at this earlier, and I was trying to see if they actually had any sea monsters or anything on this, and I haven't seen any, because we've been showing old maps with sea monsters. Well, there's one. There's a big whale or something. So anyway, I don't know if, and I've seen other stories where they said the Great Lakes obviously weren't always here, that we had the Ice Age, and then when they melted and the glaciers drug through and they created the Great Lakes. But there's stories of tribes or people being in that region, and it was kind of like a marshy land. So the Great Lakes weren't the Great Lakes that we know of, but there was a marshland where they hunted and fished, and they had their villages right there in the marshes. So that's kind of what we're going for tonight, is we're going to talk about that a little bit, plus some more maps. And this is, if anybody has ever heard of, I think it's called the Drop 45. This is at the bottom of Lake Huron, one of the Great Lakes. And this is I'm going to say Native American, but it's before the Native Americans that we know of, as far as our history as a settlers coming across and having the wars and having the Great Plains and the Indians. This was a pre-civilization before this, where they had a valley, and this is the considered where the caribou, or they would lure them into this cul-de-sac, and this is under Lake Huron, and they've discovered this. And they have structures where they think there were hunting blinds, and where they were able to shoot their prey. What's the matter?
I'm just sensing a troll.
Oh.
And it's the same troll that's been bothering this community the last couple months. But mysteriously, this one doesn't have a brand new account. It's an old account.
Huh.
I'm just starting to kind of question what you're saying.
Well, that's fine. I'm not saying this is 100% accurate. This is just my opinion and what I've been hearing other people talk about, and I'm finding evidence of Shalaga, and that's what we're talking about, but they don't show, like I said, they don't show the Great Lakes. And some other videos and stories that I've been reading talk about how the Great Lakes weren't instantly formed after the Ice Age, that it took a period of time for them to fill up. But they started out as like a marshy plains area where not so necessarily prehistoric, but a pre-civilization that were there before the Native Americans that we know of. And if I'm telling it wrong, I'm sorry. That this is just my understanding and my opinion. And so if you have something that you want to show or share us, send it to us at midwestnightwatchers@gmail.com. Show us what you know or what your proof is.
Jenny.
So if anybody, if you have ideas,
yes, questions and discussions are allowed, and you're saying the same thing as this person with probably about 50 accounts. It's the way you question it and the way you say things.
Because I don't know if this is fact, because obviously my ancestors or my family never told me that the Great Lakes were never here. So I have no family history, since we've lived in this area my whole life and my family's whole life. But I don't know. I'm not a history teacher or professor, but I love old maps, and I can only go by the information that's shown, and I do not see Great Lakes on this map. That's all I'm going by. So anyway, so here's another, and it says Nova Francisca, and I think it's the same map but drawn out differently. And there's a Shalaga again. And this, I think, if this is the one that describes this waterway coming off of the ocean inward, and I don't know if that's necessarily true of our maps today, depicting that big water.
Did you pull up Tammy's comment? I can't find it to remove it.
What? Oh, probably.
There, thank you.
I didn't realize it was still up on screen. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just.
So this is a close-up picture of that. It's a zoomed in of that same map that we just showed. Yeah, it shows it as being the St. Lawrence River.
I love my maps. And I cannot lie.
So here's another one. That it's a different map altogether, and it has the same thing as far as the water tributaries and Shalaga. But I don't know if this is being depicted as part of the Great Lakes, but I'm assuming this is land, and the gray areas are the waterways. It's kind of hard to tell because it's grainy, but I don't think I think these are land masses with water around them.
You wonder how long it took them to make these maps back in the day.
I don't know. It's amazing though, because they have a lot of features that are right and other features that today we would probably not think that they're right. Yeah, Jennifer, I think this depends on what you look at. I mean, even here they have North America and Canada, and it's not all filled in, but yet they do have some water bodies and they do have that. But here's Florida. I'm in the Gulf of America. It's hard saying Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico because we grew up saying Gulf of Mexico for our whole lives, and all of a sudden,
just call it the Gulf.
The Gulf.
The Gulf down south.
So here is a small list.
Latro said, who lives in Canada before Canadians? Was it just First Nation Indians?
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, we all have we thought the Native Americans tribes like these, for us, it was the Ho-Chunk and the Illinoisans and the Potawatomi, and we have all these tribes, and this is circa 1600. But according to history books and oral legends and oral history of the own tribes themselves, they said there was people here before them that they did not know or didn't know where they came from or who they were. So was the people up in Canada as well as United States or North America in general, was this all
Native or Indians
before the Native Americans that we've talked about? So that's kind of what we were getting at as far as the Great Lakes not being there. This picture obviously has the Great Lakes as we know it.
Jennifer makes a good point. Maybe they used airships. And it took a little time.
Yeah. And if they had airships when they were making some of these maps, they would have been able to see the Great Lakes. So why weren't they on the maps?
Yeah. That's a good point. That's why I like Wednesday nights. We're all just kind of thinking out loud. None of us are experts. We're just thinking out loud, just having fun. But yeah, there was a bunch of airships back in the day before they got rid of them. Could be how they got more details of the maps.
So this is out of a history book or a small segment of one that says the name of Chicago, or rather Chicagowa, An Algonquin language is another possible origin for meaning striped skunk or onion, and that's what they keep referring to Chicago means as in Native American striped skunk or onion. So I thought that was interesting. So this is a dick pic, an image or a drawing of when you talk about the marshland or the tributary that was here in the civilization before the Native Americans that we know of. So I kind of consider this as looking like, I don't know, they have head wraps and they have clothing on, and some of them do anyway, but it almost looks like a prehistoric civilization, or maybe even after probably not prehistoric, but a pre-civilization, almost kind of like what we thought about like the mound builders, or I don't know if it was before the mound builders or these are considered the mound builders. And when the Great Lakes came up, it pushed them down into where the mound areas, or maybe these civilizations were going on at the same time. I don't know.
Welcome in, Lantern Keeper. I'm losing track of how many times I've seen people tonight.
So there's a close-up of...
Oh, maybe giants dug out the lakes.
Oh, never thought of that. I've always just thought of the glaciers, you know. So here's another. This is out of a early 1900 history book. This says political geography, but it says vast remains of ancient fortifications, embankments, stone walls, earthen mounds, the latter continuing rude stone coffins filled with human bones, have been discovered within the precincts of this town, and many curious articles dug up, composed of jasper, rock, crystal, channel coal, copper, sculptural representations on different substances, altogether trending to that country, and was formerly inhabited by a race of men very different from the present American Indians. So this is in the Ohio River area. This says Hartford, Connecticut, water inhabitants of the Ohio River and tributaries. So this is talking about the Native Americans talking about their ancestors, about how there was stuff already here. And it was obviously a different civilization than the Native Americans. And this one is from a history book in 1910. It was a history of the United States, is what it said on the cover.
Ah.
It's basically saying the exact same thing. It says the mounds, ruined cities, pottery, and other remains since found in all parts of the land, concerning which the Indians could furnish no information. So that they were actually, these people, these scientists or archaeologists or historians went out at this time, and this book was printed in 1910. So I'm assuming they were collecting data probably in the early before 1910, and maybe even in the 1800s. They were going and finding the oldest members of all these tribes and hearing their oral history of their tribes, and they themselves said that they could not furnish any information on who was here before them. They just know that these things were here when they came about, or their oral history was. So it says, in which they showed a state of civilization far in advance of theirs, were proof that the great people had existed here in a remote past, who had flourished and disappeared without leaving any trace, whereby they could not be accounted for or identified. So that was from a history book and printed in 1910. So it just makes me think that it goes along with, the Great Lakes not being there, Shalaga being there for where Chicago is. So was there remnants of a civilization in that area? Because they said when they're exploring the Great Lakes now, the bottoms, that's when we found that drop 45, where there obviously was a civilization there that were hunting caribou or wild animals, and they had structures and stuff down there. So was it from this civilization that we're talking about that was here before the Native Americans? I don't know. I'm just finding this stuff, and it all seems to be tying together. So this is a painting or a rendition of what Chicago supposedly looked like in 1820. And as you can see, if there was, unless this is Lake Michigan right here, I don't think so. I think this is the big waterway that we've been seeing on those maps. And here's those other waterways, but no Great Lakes, unless where the Indians' boats are or their canoes. Is Lake Michigan? I don't know. I don't know because I don't have no reference of north-south. But this was supposedly the early settlement in 1820 where Chicago is.
It's not showing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I see you moving it back and forth.
Yeah, I'm moving it back and forth.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll give you the full picture of. So this is a print or a painting of Chicago in 1820. And like I said, I don't see a reference to north, south, east, west. So I don't know if this is just a river, a big tributary that we've been seeing on the other maps that come across the U.S. And these are the other ones going up north, or where the Indians in their canoes are. If that is actually part of Lake Michigan, I don't know. But I can tell you there isn't no big city or no huge population. These are some settlers and missionaries, I believe, at the time that were starting to settle in the area.
The Lantern Keeper asks, when they flood areas, where does the water come from? From the earth? I guess it depends on which flood you're talking about. Because if it was Noah's flood, it rained and rained. Other floods is by rain. The mud flood is a mystery. It looks like it was such high heat that it liquefied the ground and buried everything 20, 30 feet. So we're not sure about that one. We just know that there's evidence around the whole world that things were buried.
Yeah, this is definitely an artist rendition of a map. Not a map, but a painting. But it is a painting or a depiction of what was there. So it kind of is a map of the time, but you can take it any way you want. I'm just saying this is portrayed as being Chicago in 1820, and there's really nothing there. Then here's 1832, showing basically the same things. You have Native Americans, you have grasslands, you have some waterways, and some, I guess, log cabin structures, or definitely wood.
Dragonfly, that's a good question. Vikings and Egyptians were here when? We don't know. We just know there's all kinds of Egyptian stuff in the Grand Canyon and Egyptian stuff in southern Illinois. But with all the lies that we've been told all these years, we don't know.
So I did see I did see a picture of a stone that was a Native American artifact, they said, but they couldn't figure out the language on it as far as matching any Native American. And then finally, it was in the Smithsonian. Finally, it went to the Smithsonian, but it got thrown basically in a junk area, where or an area where they couldn't figure out where it came from, not where it came from, but anything else about it. So they kind of set it off the side and stuff that they don't pay attention to. Well, a historian or a professor was there and picked it up, and he was looking at it and he goes, well, this is upside down. So he turned it the other way, and it ended up being an old Hebrew text.
Really?
And so this was from Native Americans supposedly around the western area, kind of maybe Grand Canyon area. No, Oliver, we're not in the same room. We're in the basement, the lower level together. We're in separate rooms, though. We each have our own little setup. So anyway, if it was a Hebrew, which is Israelites or Jewish, that's the Israelites were held captives by the Egyptians, so that doesn't put us too far away from the Egyptian artifacts and stuff found in the Grand Canyon. So the Native Americans had this from the culture that lived in the Grand Canyon that people are saying have hieroglyphs and Egyptian stuff. So I would expect some of the stuff might have been in Hebrew or that language.
Do we know the year when they did discover that city in the mountain with all the artifacts? Because years ago, people used to be able to go down into the Grand Canyon on mule trains and stuff. So was it just recently, 50, 60 years ago, or does anyone know when did they find all this? And then they closed off the Grand Canyon and said, nope, you can't go down there anymore. There used to be tours that went down in there. So to me,
Yeah, I don't
Americans had to have known about.
I don't think the tours on the mules went anywhere close to this area that they're talking about, where the cave or the entrance is.
Wow. But it's a huge city on the inside.
But it's just interesting that we're talking about Shalaga and Native Americans, and then I found this video or these pictures of the pre-civilization to what we would consider our Native Americans that we know of being buried, or not buried, but underwater in the Great Lakes. And that they were saying in history that the Great Lakes obviously always weren't here. Now, as far as the timeline between the glaciers melting and digging out the Great Lakes, or however all that happened and when they actually filled up, but I do know that there's history of them saying that there was a pre-civilization that lived there that were like a marsh. It was like a marshland. It was pretty much uninhabitable except for this culture that was there. And they hunted and fished and had families and communities or villages. And supposedly that's all down underneath the water in the Great Lakes.
I've never seen a possum run so fast on the wood. That was funny. Lantern keeper. I forgot about this. We were talking about this with Jessica, and we brought it up too, that the East Tennessee, when they dug down and found the Egyptian artifacts and relics, and they just covered it up and made a lake out of it. Said nothing to see here.
Yep, Robin said she took mule rides in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I kind of remember they used to have some mule rides down there, but I don't think they do any of that anymore. Especially that area, because they closed it off.
Now, me personally, like between this map of Shalaga and when the Great Lakes were there or weren't there, or the artifacts in the Grand Canyon and all that stuff, I don't have a timeline or able to wrap my head around it yet. So I have no definite information.
No, thanks for correcting me. Yeah, they were very narrow trails. I think I was around 8 or so the first time I went to Grand Canyon.
I have never been.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh my
I've seen
goodness.
lots. I mean, we used to have
It's breathtaking.
slides and what was it? The Viewmaster. We had several of those that were all Grand Canyons and pictures of that. Actually, I should check. I should find those. I think I have them. I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe they're still over at Mom's. But we had pictures of Arizona and the Indians and the Grand Canyon and all that out west and all that stuff. And obviously the other stuff, like they'd have the Eiffel Tower and all the seven. I think there was one disc that was called Seven Wonders of the World that had all this stuff on there. So anyway, I don't know a timeline between all this information. I'm just now putting it together and seeing bits and pieces from other people and finding maps and other people talking about it and stories. So I don't even know if any of it 100% accurate other than I'm finding information on it.
My lunch break. Good channel.
Yeah, I like watching My Lunch Break. There's a lot of good channels like that out there.
He shows a lot of proof and evidence and receipts. Yes, we might be saying things wrong from time to time. We watch a lot of videos. We hear a lot of things. So if we repeat things we hear from other videos, and I am not an expert. And
no, neither am I. I just find it all interesting, and I think a lot of it is all connected. And I don't necessarily know all the connections, but I'm starting to.
I'm just curious.
Together as far as, and I do believe that maybe the Great Lakes always weren't there. Maybe they were marshlands or starting out. And maybe when they started filling up is when it pushed out their people, their settlements or villages that were there. They had to leave because it was just getting deeper and deeper and higher and higher. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think it's interesting to talk about and think about.
Hey, cat. It's a real goat. And better yet, I have 2 of them. And you can get them on Amazon.
Well, Oliver, I don't believe everything I read on Google either, so I don't know.
I don't trust.
I can go to Wikipedia just as easy as Google, and that's usually what they reference anyway. So a lot of this stuff, like some of it is actually out of history books. Some of the maps are out of history books. Some of the maps are in museums that I find. So I don't know. I only have the information in front of me that I know.
No, I don't.
Like I said, I'm not a historian or expert, but I just like this subject of maps and history, and I don't even that you're putting it in chat. I don't even know what you're saying is 100% true. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. I have no idea. but I have an open enough mind to read more information about it and try to figure it out.
And if we've heard things, like I said, I've heard several times on people's podcasts that they stop the tours and stuff. That's why I said it. So I am sorry. I could have been wrong. Please forgive me, Oliver. We don't know who you are, but you really sound like the same troll that comes into Dennis Carroll's chat every single time he has a show under a brand new account, and you're saying the same stuff. And if you are the same stalker that's attacking an elderly man that is sick, shame on you, because you are saying the same things and you sound just like this same troll. So please be respectful. You can stay in here. But if there's going to be arguing and disrespecting our chat, you will be blocked. That's your last warning. Because I'm tired of this person attacking Dennis Carroll.
And others.
He's an old man that's very innocent and having fun doing podcasts. And you're saying the same stuff as the same troll. Coming under new accounts every time he has a show. So please stop.
I mean, you can ask all the questions you want, but I'm not going to have answers because I don't know. A lot of the stuff you're saying, I don't know. But it's just an interesting subject, and we like to talk about stuff like this and have fun, and people in chat bring up their ideas and what it is, but well, Oliver, I think you came to the wrong place because I just have what I find on the internet or what other people talk about it. So you just need to move on and go somewhere else because this isn't the channel for you, because we just like talking about subjects and coming up with ideas and what ifs and I don't knows. And so you can just go ahead and move on.
And then?
I don't know. I'm about done. I'm
then?
Tired of talking about it. And
no, we're done. We're doing that. So other than that, how's everyone's weather? Is anyone getting these nasty bad storms this Friday? Or maybe, some of them are starting tomorrow, probably, Oklahoma area. So if anyone who's going to have these storms here, please be safe.
Yeah, please. We got some bad weather coming, hitting across the Midwest into the east.
Just pray for no tornadoes. Yeah, I think they're supposed to be all the way down to Texas, all the way up way past our area. So everyone stay safe. And we're supposed to be really, really warm that day, so I can imagine how bad the thunderstorms are going to be. Rain and wind here in Southern Cali through Friday. More wind. The wind has been bad. A flood here in the desert. Good for a movie night.
Yes, there will be. As long as we have internet, we'll be on. No goats, no glory.
Oh my. Yeah, this goat sure has added to our Wednesday night show. 75.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Well, we got some warm days coming up again. It keeps going up and down, but it's not getting to freezing necessarily. But I mean, we're getting all the way up. We're going to be higher, like what, 75 here coming up? Not too
I'm
long.
checking. It's 76 Friday. So yeah, that's why these storms are going to be pretty nasty. And then it drops down to 61. Then we have a 38. Oh, goody. And then it goes back up to 60s. Up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, Tammy, I think I know what movies and stuff we're going to be playing, but I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to show up to find out.
Will you tell me?
I thought I already did, but maybe I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I did.
I don't think you did. He'll tell me after the show.
So
it
anyway,
was 90. It was 90 there today.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not ready for the hot. No, I am not ready for the hot. A little bit warmer, yeah. I'm ready to sit outside. I'm ready to look at the stars at night. And
well, you've got outside a few times here. We got some nice weather, and
I'm getting there, yeah. But the doggone wind. We almost moved to Phoenix. I'm glad we didn't. Oh, I lived in Phoenix for 1.5 years. It was miserable. I couldn't wait to move back to Illinois and watch the corn grow. Cost of living is really bad down there too. And that was back in the late 80s.
yeah, I've never lived anywhere else but here. So I don't know I've traveled some, not a lot, but so I don't really know what it's like to live in Arizona or Florida or any of the other spots that people like to vacation to, but
San Antonio is starting to suck. Well, we kind of considered moving, and then some of the places we were looking at, yeah, it would have been too hot, or now they're getting really bad, freaky, crazy weather, and we're settled here. We've got grandkids around. We might as well stay put until we're old and they throw us in a nursing home. Yeah, Arizona is hot.
where are you making a road trip to, Robin? You talking about Central Illinois, or you're talking somewhere else?
Back our way. If
Well,
you do
I
come
don't
up
know if
this
he's
way,
talking to us or somebody else.
if you're coming up our way, you better let us know. Yeah, Sedona's beautiful. I went there as a kid. Went down Slide Rock before it really got nasty, but it was really a slide rock and nice and smooth back then. Beautiful area. Illinois and Iowa. Talking to you guys. You want real goat therapy?
Yeah, Clay lives in Iowa now, and we might have to take a road trip and go bug Clay for a day.
Meet him halfway or something. Yeah, I like the Four Seasons. Yeah, when we moved out to Arizona and gave it a try, I ended up really missing the Four Seasons.
There's Dwarfy back.
It's hard to find a good state to really live in.
You leaving, Dragonfly? Good night.
Good night, Dragonfly. When you go down south, you've got stinging caterpillars, you got tarantulas, you got scorpions. Up here, you got tornadoes. Out west, you got bears. Yeah, we've got 4 goats, so well, you can just lay down. We'll just have them crawl all over you.
The babies might jump on you. I don't know. Gary, he's kind of temperamental. I don't know if he would or not.
Gary's old.
Gary's probably not into yoga or anything.
He's old and grumpy. He'll probably just come up and sniff at you.
Yeah, Lantern Keeper says East Tennessee is beautiful, and I have relatives in Tennessee and all over in that. And we thought about moving. I probably would have moved to Tennessee or Kentucky, somewhere in that area. But
that's where we were considering. Yeah.
But with all the weather stuff going on, and we're pretty set where we're at, and our family and everybody's in this area. So I doubt if we go anywhere. I don't know. Probably too old, too much stuff to move.
I just feel like we're set here. We've got Daryl's dad's grapevine. We have his mom's flowers. We have his uncle's flowers. We're just kind of set here, and look at all the strange activity with orbs and skyfish and Sasquatch and UFOs and oh my. We do have a good spot. We'd have to find a place that outdoor cameras would be good.
Yeah.
I don't move.
Bigfoot Dwarf said, let's get a tour bus.
Oh.
Yeah, take the show on the road.
Yeah, we'll just sell everything and then store.
And we thought about that too. We thought about living in an RV and traveling or buying it, maybe having a smaller place somewhere just as a home base, but not a big house. Because I mean, we had 5 kids in this house, and we were married when we got together, so it's a big house just for the 2 of us. And we only really spend time in a couple of the rooms, here down the basement when we do our shows, and me upstairs where the TV and Roku and all that stuff is, so I can look stuff up or watch videos. And
I'm down here watching all the 8 cameras and my music room. And I said, do not panic. I got tarantulas in my house.
Ooh. No scorpions. Get a UV light check and see if you got scorpions and stuff, so they glow fluorescent.
Sleeping outside on the porch. I bet Sasquatch would love that. Stray cats would too. Like, hey, what are you doing on my porch?
Now, we did that as kids. Obviously, and growing up, I slept outside a lot. Mom and Dad had an 1.5 acre backyard, and we'd pop tents up back there, or just sleeping bags or whatever. And we've slept on the river banks, and when we went to Michigan, visit my aunt who had a 80-acre farm. Well, she had more property than that, but her main property was this 80 acres. And we would sleep out on the porch as kids on our porch at night and hear the bugs. And then my other relatives that had farms here in our area, the big house that we'd stay at, big farmhouse, 2-story white giant farmhouse, didn't have air conditioning or anything like that. So we'd spend a lot of time outside or in the shade or on the porches. And
Clay said he has all new areas to camp now.
Yeah.
Warm weather's coming. You guys can start exploring and checking out your whole area.
No, Ghost Lore, I did not have a granny that got bailed out for moonshine. That was somebody else's story that they put in chat saying, am I the only one that bailed out my grandma?
Yeah, it was Red Pill Preacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, am I the only one that
No, that was not my story. You would never have caught my granny with moonshine, or at least on my mom's side. I don't know about my dad's side, but my mom and dad didn't drink, so I don't know about the rest of the.
But I guess it was a true story. I think Red Pill said that he had to bail out his grandma for moonshine.
Yep, that's what he said.
Oh, I bet there is some good granny stories out there.
Now, the only story I have about my Grandma Adolson, my mom's mother, is that she did not drive in her adult life. So any of us kids that had licenses, or even mom or that, grandma would get taken to the store or the doctor, whatever, normal stuff. And she would be a big backseat driver. I mean, but she didn't drive herself. And the story that I got was when she was learning how to drive at the same farmhouse I was talking about, with a great big giant 2-story white on Uncle Rich's farm. Grandma was learning to drive, and she was driving the farm Jeep, or starting off, and she put it in the wrong gear and zipped out the back side of the wall and ended up in the pig lot or something. I can't remember. Anyway, she had such a bad experience learning how to drive, and that was her first time, that she never drove after that. Everybody had to drive. So all the way from when she was supposed to get her license into her adult life, she didn't drive. Everybody drove. She just rode.
Leonard said their farmhouse is 200 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Interesting activity.
Oh yeah. So the farms, other than the one that was Grandma Adolson's, the one I was just talking about, that one got sold. But all the other farms that were in our family are still in our families. Now, granted, it's our cousins or our aunt and uncle's property, not my family necessarily. The farms that my family grew up on, my dad's side, that all got sold, and it's in a trust. So some other family has it in a trust, so we'd never get it back. Even if we wanted to get it back, we could never get that property back. And it was like, it was by the time it was sold, I think my great grandfather had it up to almost 1,000 acres or more.
Yep, back in the earlier days, a lot of the women didn't drive.
Yeah, so I just remember as a kid or growing up being told that story. And I remember riding in the car with Grandma when mom or somebody would come, we'd go pick her up and going around doing the errands and stuff. And she would tell mom every time about a stop sign, yield sign, watch this car. Or you're going too fast, going too, this is a complete backseat driver situation. She was always nice about it, but.
Love your name. Lantern Keeper.
I always remember the episode on Andy Griffith when Opie joined the Keeper of the Flames or whatever that little group was, and the straw or hay or whatever got caught on fire in the barn, and Opie had the matches. He was in charge of keeping the matches, but that was Keeper of the Flame, not the Lantern Keeper, but the Keeper of the Flame.
Golly me. Golly.
Yep.
Bad keyboard. There, you got a goat, cat.
Yeah, I watch Andy Griffith quite a while. Well, actually, I watch all those shows back from when I was a kid or growing up in the house, whether it's Gunsmoke or Bonanza or Andy Griffith or Dick Van Dyke or any of those. I watch them. Jane can tell you. I watch them. She'll walk through the room and I got something black and white or something on from the
It's
old
always
days.
black and white. I think I'm going in a time slip, and I walk through the room with the corner of my eye, I see black and white on the big TV.
I don't know. Those are the good old days, the good TV shows. I like them. Not that I don't enjoy new stuff, but I prefer going back and watching the old comedies and the old shows,
Like time
old
traveling,
movies.
in the upstairs living room.
That's a good Twilight Zone, actually. The lady was a silent movie actress, and she was older, and she'd sit there and watch her old movies and stuff, and she'd look kind of lost. She'd kind of get lost in the time, thinking that it was still back when she was a big movie star and wanting to know about, having a party or inviting old actors and actresses over to come visit and stuff. And her caretaker would tell her, well, they passed away, right? Or they're no longer around or whatever. And eventually, the last time the guy comes in the room, the projector is playing on the big screen that she watches her films on, and she actually in real life is in the movies reliving her heyday, and the guy's telling her to come back. So I don't know, we might show that Twilight Zone. That's a really good one. Or it's kind of dimensions where she goes back in time and into the movie.
What'd you do? Send Kat some Christmas tunes?
Heck, I don't know. I probably sent stuff to Cathedra. I've sent stuff to many people, and once in a while, Cisco will ask me if I have a good copy or find a good copy of film. Shows her movie nights, and
because she says, I do know Carol loves those old Christmas tunes. I remember a share of one or more Christmas times, 24.
Yeah. It's weird, you talk about old movies and old shows and stuff, and if you start looking at the lyrics or what they say or what they're doing in these old movies, it's like, all right, it's right there. It's connecting. It's the old world and the buildings and the fireplaces, like you talk about, Jane, the mantles and all that stuff. And even like we talk about the Christmas Carol and the ghosts and stuff at Christmas time, when the veil's supposed to be the thinnest around that time. And now, is it remembering ghosts or memories of olden days for them, or is it really a ghost coming to life during that time?
Monisha watched Gunsmoke earlier today.
All right.
Oh my, we can even put Gilligan's Island on one of our Friday or Saturday nights and have a Gilligan's Island show. That'd be a fun one too to download.
I think there was one Gilligan's Island that there was a giant spider in a cave, so that would kind of fit into the creepy episodes.
Dwarf says the first movie made has heavy old world connections. I'm spotting that on some of these old black and white movies we're showing. They're like, ooh, look at the old buildings. Taking a look and see. Be right back. Uh-oh. Should we be scared?
Oh, the old, yeah, I did.
Girl wanted me to share it out.
Yeah, remember on TV when we had cable, I'd always watch the cartoons when they came out on the Family Channel or whatever. It had my favorite cartoon. that they had a heat miser and a snow miser, and I'd watch Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman and Santa's Coming to Town. They'd have them all as a big long marathon. Well, I shared the link to Kathita. I do remember that now. Yep, heat miser and snow miser. I'm going to tell Mother. I like Christmas. I like all movies, actually. I mean, it doesn't matter. Christmas movies, black and white movies, sci-fi movies, monster movies, new Marvel movies. I mean, I like them all. I like what would be actually considered kid movies or animations. I like them.
She's trying to find the one you sent her. Yes, Saturday afternoon sci-fi.
Yeah, so there would be a lot of, I mean, I grew up on some rainy days, they would have like a afternoon matinee. So you'd be inside the house and you tune into your local TV station, and ours had a mid-afternoon matinee, and it would play stuff like Ma and Pa Kettle or Laurel and Hardy or the Bowery Boys. There's a good scary cemetery kind of zombie Bowery Boys movie. We could probably play that too, if you know who the Bowery Boys are.
Man, might have to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, we did that one week. We did Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh yeah, we tested out.
Not Wednesday. We did Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday. It was a test night to see, and
I think we did 4 nights.
Our Sunday night too. Oh, we might have.
I think we did. I don't know if we had a show that Sunday, or maybe we didn't have a guest or something. We didn't do a show and we came on later that night and did a movie night. But I do remember doing 4 nights when we first started off.
Gilligan got nailed for pot.
I'm assuming in real life, I guess. Bob Denver. Is that, isn't it? Bob Denver?
I think. Scooby-Doo. We did have some good Saturday morning cartoons back in the day.
Yep.
Couldn't wait till the new season came out.
And isn't it funny how, and people make a lot of memes and stuff out of that, but Scooby-Doo, they always had masks that they would pull off of people. And now we have celebrities and politicians that supposedly aren't the real ones, or having people that are portraying them. So it kind of makes you wonder, okay, is that like disclosure for us kids or adults that Scooby-Doo and the gang were pulling masks off of people? And
what kind of Scooby snacks were those?
I don't know.
Special Scooby snacks. Let your imagination go there. Get those groovy Scooby snacks.
I can't remember, but for some reason I'm thinking they actually came out with a Scooby snack that was actually edible for.
Yeah, it was graham crackers.
No. I'm not talking about the shapes of Scooby in them. I'm talking about actually something that said Scooby snacks on it. Scooby-Doo snacks that were.
For dogs or?
No, for people.
Yeah, well, I thought it was graham crackers, if I remember right, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, that does ring a bell.
I thought it was something like a
cookie or something.
Like a combo, what a combo would look like. It was kind of like a biscuit with, or maybe a Fig Newton or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
I do remember something about a Scooby snack.
Yeah, we had coloring books of all that Scooby and all the Looney Tunes that had Porky Pig and Sylvester and Tweety and Bugs Bunny and all them. We had coloring books with all that in it. And
Animal crackers. I think they tasted better when we were younger.
well, I'm sure.
I don't think they taste the same.
No, but maybe if we get the food industry all straightened out where they can't add all the chemicals and preservatives and all that unless it's absolutely necessary, get it down to like the Europeans, UK, or some of the other countries, that we have 20 ingredients in ours and they have 4 ingredients in their stuff. So maybe the taste will come back and the health value.
And the fruity ones. It's kind of like having a box of Cracker Jack, and you'd be lucky if you got one peanut. But when we were younger, it was filled with the peanut.
Yeah.
Right? You get older, it's like, oh, I got one peanut out of this whole box of Cracker Jack.
Back when we used to actually get whistles and compasses and rings and stuff in Cracker Jacks, and now you get like little temporary tattoos or whatever you put on your arms. Like,
hi Artemis, welcome in.
Yeah, welcome in.
Last time he was here, Chloe was here.
Oh.
Oh, yes, they have here too, Lantern Keeper. I know darn well that this storm is going to be pretty big Friday because we were filled with chemtrails today. X's all over the place. Yeah, they're getting ready for it.
We're gonna have to keep an eye on it and touch base with our daughter because she said she wanted to come visit Friday or Saturday or some. Have to make sure that storms are. I don't think Friday. She said this weekend, so maybe it's Saturday, Sunday. So,
hello, dear. Are you by yourself?
You got a deer?
Slowly heading to the garden. Yeah. It's on the garden cam right now, but when it gets into the garden, it'll be the sky cam. But now just froze right there at the corner. What you doing? Don't see anyone behind the barn.
He's going to the garden.
Yeah, so if you go, the sky cam will be the one he'll be at. There, I see a head. You must have walked right past the corn and stuff behind the barn. Slowly trying to move them because here pretty soon it'll be a garden again. So I'm kind of moving the food source. There, now you're in view if you want to pull that up.
I already did.
Yeah, now you're in view. And if I move it over one more time, it starts showing a glare because of the other camera. So that's the best spot.
So as you guys who have been here before know, we have outside cameras where we have it on the field or sometimes the night sky or some of the feeders. And during the day, we'll have the goats or chickens on if it's a nice day out. So here you go. A nice outside shot of the no snow.
Yeah, our 24/7's been down because the weather is just not predictable. The wind is bad. And I just have it down. I was almost turned it on this afternoon. I'm glad I didn't because Friday is supposed to be windy and nasty and rainy and stormy. And so I'm just kind of taking a small little break from the 24/7. Ooh, deer butt.
Deer butt.
But I'll pull it back up here pretty soon. I'm just tired of the wind. I don't think anybody wants to see sleeping goats for 24/7.
So as animals pop up, Jane will pick between the cameras which one has the best view, or wherever the animal happens to be. It's in the front or the back or the garden or the field or our own animals.
You got 2 inside the barn. And here pretty soon we won't be seeing them much. So enjoy them while they're here, because they're going to be leaving, and we won't see them until like late fall. I mean, we'll see them out in the fields, but they just don't come up and eat. They just pretty much do this for the winter time. And spring is almost here.
Ah, cool. Artemis is talking about somebody on Rumble that's
A remote
a
viewer.
remote viewer. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah, we watched Jessica the Cryptid Huntress, and she's a very good remote viewer also.
Yeah, and we've had Tony Rodriguez on, and
Yeah, last time he was on, he talked about remote viewing. You're going to turn around, you're just going to show us your butt.
guess it's going to show us the butt.
I'm not sure what it's eating over there. Oh, it might be eating some fresh green grass that's starting to grow in the garden, because he's not over there by the food. She. Can't tell now because the bucks have dropped their antlers. So they all look the same now. Yes, Jessica is a sweetheart.
Yeah, we love Jessica.
Yeah.
Great friend.
Very good friend of ours. And a good remote viewer. I've been watching her show for probably 4 years now. He's starting to turn around a little bit. There you go. Come on. There you go. There's not fresh food there, but there's still some food there. I think the bunnies ate all the little pieces of corn. She found the Christmas flick.
Oh boy. Yeah, I even watched them in July when it had Christmas in July on TV. So yeah, cartoons and old movies, especially Christmas movies or stuff I grew up as a kid, or kind of fun, kind of good memories for me. So I tend to watch them no matter. And it's weird because I have all the movies, a lot of them on DVD, VHS, whatever. But I even have some of them digital as far as downloads. But if I find them on YouTube or somebody's movie channel or whatever, I'll sit there and watch it instead of actually getting the disc out or the movie and watch it. It's weird. I do that a lot with Clint Talk, with John Wayne, stuff like that. Even if it's part through or I know it's almost ending or I missed part of it, I'll still watch the rest of it just because I like those movies growing up. And Cathita or Ghost Lore has a recipe for something she knows we'll like. It's called moose farts or moist farts.
Oh my. That's a double goat.
Moose farts.
Moose farts. That's
But
kind of like,
they have like the chocolate covered Christmas stuff that some people call them moose pellets or I don't know what they're. But anyway, supposedly that's little droppings from goats or moose or whatever,
Uh-oh, she found my Facebook. I have two of them. One's a personal, one's for YouTube.
Oh,
If I have two names, that's my YouTube. If you see three names, that's my personal. Moose.
Nah.
Delayed reaction to the goats.
Hey, we got a headless deer.
Oh my. I think that was the buck that the last time he was here, he had one antler. He dropped one and he only had one on his head. Son of a dad. Son of a dad. Yeah, see, when you get closer to the camera, kind of glares it a little bit.
Yeah. I just moved it over so we can get a full view of his.
Who's this nut? We're all nuts. That's why we have so much fun with you guys. We're all crazy and nuts.
Yeah, we just like hanging out and talking. And
We got
like
a
I
good
said many times, this is just our way of hanging out with you, because usually when we're on a show or whatever, we don't usually get a chance to respond to chat very much or see what you guys are necessarily saying. But tonight on Wednesday nights is our and same thing with our Friday and Saturdays. We like hanging out and chat and talking about the movies, even though a lot of people don't come in our chat and
nut house.
and on Rumble, because it's fairly underutilized channel for us anyway. So it used to just to be a backup where I'd upload videos, but nothing was ever live. But now it's now we do our live shows over there, and we just like hanging out on Fridays and Saturdays on movie night and being in chat. Just like tonight, we like hanging out and chat and talking with you guys and having fun.
Cat, if you see just my name, first name, last name, that is the YouTube one. The other one has an animal name in the middle, and I'm just not going to say it because we don't know who's lurking in our chat right now. So the one that the pick is, see, I told you, Mr. B's in chat. Just my first name, last name, and you'll probably see other people on common. I think I got 100 and some YouTube friends on there. Hi, Mr. B. How's tomorrow?
You're gonna be on a different camera now.
I don't see him on the. Yeah, all I see is two back legs. Let me move the camera. You can switch. There. Now you can garden. And here pretty soon we can flip that camera around, the sky cam, and we'll get a 360 view of the stars. And we'll do a sky watch. So how's tomorrow, Mr. B?
Looks like he's frozen.
Saw a tail moving.
He probably freaked out because the camera made noise or something.
Maybe. It might have been a cat out in the sunroom too. When they look in that direction. I wonder why there's only one tonight. I don't see anyone behind the barn.
I don't know. They might be somewhere else, or maybe they're out doing something else and watching him. There might be one further out in the field watching.
The other night before I went to bed, there was like 8 of them behind the barn. It was amazing. Oh, it was really, I kept counting all the black spots and they were getting closer and closer. It was so cool.
Hi, Derek. I don't think I said hi to Derek, Mr. B, Terry. Well, now he's moving out of camera range again.
Now I found the rest of the food. Now, he must have walked right past the fresh food behind the barn. I said 2. Yes, I have 2 accounts. The one with no middle third name. That's an animal. The one with just my first name and last name is the YouTube account, but I'll find you. I think he said to use the one with first and last name, correct? Yes. The one that has an animal name in the middle is my personal account that has neighbors and family, classmates. I don't post our YouTube stuff and things like that on there. That's why I have this account that has just YouTube friends. Tammy. Your first question is blocked. Sorry for the interruption, guys. I think you understand. Plum forgot. I probably should move that other camera. He's got a spotlight on him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's going to wander off.
Where you going?
He's leaving. Or she.
Oh, I just want a skyfish. There he goes. Oh, well, now you stopped. Why'd you stop? Well, thanks for showing up to our Night Owl Lounge, Mr. Deer. Moose fart's coming. Oh, no. You sent her some moose fart links?
I don't know.
Christmas moose farts?
No, she said that recipe. She was going to send us a recipe.
Oh, the moose fart recipe. Oh, do the field cam. He found the fresh food. That's where they're going to be eating, so I can start working on the garden. You found the fresh food. And I don't see any dark spots over in the distance yet. Because they were over in that second field the other night when there was about 8 of them. And then one wandered in the second driveway and came through the backyard, just kind of looking around, just kind of strolling through the backyard.
So we feed them corn pieces and chunks.
It's apple flavored deer corn. But then this last time it was soy something that's actually for farm animals. But some lady asked the people if they would order this specific kind because she said deer love it. And I went, really? So it was soy, right? Some kind of a soy pellet or something like that. And so I bought a bag last time we went and got goat and chicken feed, and they are loving it. So this bag will last to the point that they'll, they won't show up anymore. But I'll remember it next year if they keep having this kind of feed. What am I planting in my garden? It's mostly for the critters. I do kale, Swiss chard, tomatoes, try to do some cabbage. I like okra for myself. The tomatoes is for both the animals and us. I love zucchini squash. I usually have like 5 hills of that. So a lot of it is for the chickens and goats.
Yeah, we feed them stuff that we might not eat, or like if the tomato gets spots or something on it or whatever, we'll still give it to the goats or chickens. And
they love kale. They love Swiss chard.
So they basically get any of the plants or any of the stuff out of the garden, what it produces, and so do we.
Kind of hoping there's deer poop out there. Good fertilizer. Bunny poop and deer poop.
So we do need to put some more topsoil and give it a good till to mix it in, and because it's starting to sink a little bit, so we need to add more. One year we did a couple truckloads of mushroom compost from a mushroom factory, and they sell their compost. So we added that to the garden one year, and the garden did really well that year.
Oh, and then one year we went down the road where you could see those lights, past a deer, and went down there and got a truckload of horse manure. That was a good year too. We might have to do that this year also. Just head down there. Well, I don't know. Last year she actually spread it out in one of her fields. So
yeah,
she might be actually using it on the fields now. And let me see. Yes, I do have a notification that says, cat, moose farts, no baked dessert. I got it.
Yeah, Lost in Space on Amazon. Yeah, they charge you for it, but there's other sites that have it where they don't charge you for it.
Sasquatch. I have just renamed this dessert for myself anyway. Oh no. Should we ask? I'm scared. I don't know if we should ask. Oh, drum roll? Okay, hold on. Wait a second. Where's our drum roll? Oops, wrong one. Here, this one.
She said, dun, dun, dun.
Drum roll. I'll do it again.
Come get the horse poop. Well, we got it pretty close by to us, so we don't have to go very far. Moose toots.
What, the horse poop? Horse poop's just not even a mile down the road.
Tammy said she has plenty. Come get it. And we don't need to travel. We can just go right down the road a little bit and get it.
I don't know if our 1999 Ford Ranger will go that far without breaking down. A little farm truck that we got when we get hay and straw, and got plenty of horse poop. It is the best stuff for a garden. Back when I was a kid, our mom would give us a quarter every wheelbarrow of horse manure that we put in her garden. It was just enough to get a bunch of candy. It was penny candy back then. Nickel candy. Cigarettes were 45 cents.
I think there was some stuff that was penny or was called penny candy, but I think most of it was 5 cents when I was growing up. Especially when we went to Hazi's. It was an old store, and he still had the glass display case with all the candies and the jars for all the hard sticks and all that stuff out there. And my brothers and sisters always talked about, spending a dime and just having this big bag full of candy.
Yeah.
Well, when I went in, it was at least 5 cents for candy, but
yeah, we had an old store on the square that sold a bunch of the little penny stuff.
But
then it got expensive. Atomic Fireball, Jawbreakers.
Yeah.
The big, huge, giant Jawbreakers that you can barely put in your mouth. Do you even still make Jawbreakers?
What's that?
Do you see Jawbreakers in the store anymore?
No, we used to get them out of the machines in the stores and stuff, and they used to sell them in the stores.
Wow.
But
it was a choke hazard, probably.
Remember the old buttons or the shoe? Was it shoe buttons or what was it called? Where they had the different colored hard dots on the piece of paper.
Dot candy.
Yeah,
they were called dots, weren't they?
Dots or something.
Button candy.
But he had Old Man Hazy. He had the big rolls of it. And you would, and it still had all the candies, just like you'd buy the sheets in the stores, but he'd be able to roll it out and cut it any length you want. So if you wanted 2 or 3 feet of
oh wow.
of those, you could get it, or you could just get a short amount and he'd charge you by so much.
Yeah, dots and pastel dots. And you didn't care if there's a little bit of paper on that dot.
Yeah, Lunchbox is great.
Oh,
There's a bunch
yeah.
of other channels that are good too, but Lunchbox is awesome.
You get on his channel, you can binge watch and just watch the last several months worth of shows. He really breaks in the detail. It's got proof and evidence, and he really digs deep.
But I would have to say, out of all the shows that I watch, probably Y-Files is my favorite.
And then John Levi is another good one. We called them pills. Robin remembers a guy at a local store who cut the paper from the dots.
Yep, Old Man Hazy. I mean, that was a store there for as long as I can remember, and my mom and dad said it was always there. He was always had candy, and like I said, he had the big display, old-fashioned wood with the big window panes or the glass that you look through and see all the candies and chocolates and all that. And he had the glass jars. You'd get them. He had all the shelves in the back with all the stuff on it, and he'd get on a ladder and get the jars or whatever whatever candy you wanted or whatever it would be. And so I can't remember if it was just a candy store though. Because that's what I focused on. Obviously, that's why I was there. I don't remember what else was in the store. If it was a hardware store, I don't think it was hardware, because hardware was across the street at the Duke Brothers.
See, ours was kind of a combination. They had hardware and stuff like that, and then some of the toys were downstairs in their small little basement, and then up front they had a bunch of this candy.
I'll have to ask my brother when I talk to him and ask him, what was Hazy's? Was it just a candy store, or what else was it?
Where was it at?
Right downtown, across the street from like where the paint store was, or that general area.
All right. Hecklefish.
Hecklefish. Yeah, I like Y-Files. That's one of my favorite shows. I can binge watch that all day.
Moose farts. And Dwarfy's sky farts. He calls chemtrails sky farts. I hear the dog awake, walking around. You hear something, don't you?
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering, is more on their ways looking at something.
I haven't heard any coyotes or anything, or
I haven't heard any coyotes here lately. Maybe they're not in the neighborhood yet. I don't see the well, actually, this time of year you don't see much foxes. They might have babies somewhere. We might start seeing some of the baby foxes running up, because it is March. Well, I haven't seen the fox show up a whole lot. Just tons of skunks, and I'm talking a lot of skunks. You just can't beat a good fart.
So Ghost
Good one, Mr. B.
asking about Halsey's store. Yeah. Talking about getting candy at at one of the old stores growing up that my brothers and sisters went to all the time while they were growing up. My mom and dad remember it for as long as it was here. And
that was his last name or first name?
That was his last name. His last. I don't know what his first name was. You know, as kids, it was always Old Man. Old Man Halsey's.
Old man, poor guy.
Yep.
And he's probably in his 50s, and you're calling him an old man.
Well, could have been. I don't know. Oh, how old he was? I assumed he was in his 70s or older when I was a kid, but because he was there with my brothers and sisters who were a lot older than me, and mom and dad said they remember growing up that he was there.
Good night, Robin. Thanks for stopping in. Ooh, Cat heard one 45 minutes ago.
So I don't know. It could have been it wasn't clothing that I know of, because we had Watercots, was the big fabric and clothing store and all that mercantile. Then we had Duke Brothers across the street or down the street just a little bit from them. That was the hardware store. And we had a bakery that was down the street and a movie theater. And we had the hospital. And then we had his store that we got candy at. And we had a soda shop next door to it. It might have been across the alley on the next block, but we had a soda shop there. So I don't know what else he sold. He had to sell something else besides candy, I would assume. So I'm gonna have to ask my brothers and sisters what he sold.
Yeah, your focus was on candy.
I mean, that's all I remember. Got taken in there and buying the jelly 5-cent or 1-cent candies and root beer barrels and
candy cigarettes,
peppermint sticks and all that stuff. But I don't know if my mom or anybody else did shopping in the store for anything else. I have no idea. I guess I had blinders on. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I bet they had hardware and stuff also.
I don't know. I don't know if this town would be big enough for 2 hardware stores, but maybe it was. I think he left.
Yeah, he's wandering off. Yeah, he's gone. It's funny how things change so much since we were kids.
But as a kid, I know it was. Well, I can't say I know it was there. The bakery was there because I remember riding my bicycle down the street and smelling the baked goods or the bread or whatever. And mom, I remember going to the store younger with mom getting breads and stuff for like celebrations or birthdays or whatever. I don't remember her getting bread any other time than maybe something special or a cake or something at the bakery.
Oh, the smell of those old bakeries.
Yeah, I think that's spelled right. Halsey, Halsey. Might be 2 L's. I don't know. Might be an IE at the end. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen his name printed out. And knowing me, I'll have to ask my brother, but I might even be pronouncing it wrong. But I think it's Halsey.
Bread and milk delivered. I know milk delivery, but I don't remember a bread delivery here.
I don't ever remember milk being delivered. Not in Henry, not at our.
Well, I don't remember milk being delivered, but I do remember we went and got milk in a glass jar. I mean, they were in the glass jars back then, but delivery milk was before my time, I guess. But I've never heard of actual bread being delivered to you. Wow.
Let's see, what else? What else did we have? Had a dedicated paint store.
You had a theater at one time.
Yeah, we had a movie theater. I still need to get those tickets out, and I'll bring them out and show them.
What year did that movie theater burn down? Do you remember?
I don't know. I'd have to look up the history on it. I can't remember.
It was interesting that we even had a fire in our town getting rid of some of these old buildings.
As long as I remember, I don't ever remember seeing the movie theater. So I'm assuming by the time I was of age or running around, And maybe the building was there, and I just didn't know it was a movie theater because it was probably closed up, but it was destroyed in a fire. And
Wow.
well, I was born in '63, so I remember Halsey's and a bakery and the hardware store and Walcott's, a clothing store, a mercantile.
How many grocery stores did you have back in the day?
Well, when I was growing up, there was one.
There's 3 when I came into town when I was in my early
2,
20s.
3, one out the highway, 2 in town. But growing up, there was more than that because I remember the old fire station, or where they built the fire station that is now the new fire station. That was that old building was a grocery store.
Oh, wow.
And that was the oldest grocery store in town. That was the original grocery store.
Wow.
But I don't ever remember going in that. I just remember going out to the one on the highway, and then obviously the 2 newer ones that were downtown. And one of the Kelts, the one that's further into town, next to Watercott's, that was actually a Kroger store.
Oh, that was a Kroger?
That was an original family Kroger store before it became a corporate chain.
And yes, Lantern, yes, you hear about these buildings mysteriously burning down in all towns, not just the big cities. They were slowly getting rid of the old world buildings.
And there was the National Bank. So it wasn't anything like the banks you see now. It was the big brick, stone bank on the corner that, well, it was a floral shop and whatever after the fact. But when I was growing up, that was the bank.
Oh, the bank actually was there when you were a kid. Oh, okay. I didn't know how long ago that it was actually a bank.
Well, I don't remember going. I remember one time going in there, and I don't know if it was the bank still then or not, but it still had all the decorations and the etchings and the floor and all that. It could have been something else by then, but I do remember as a tiny kid going in it. But the building's always been there and still there. The hotel, obviously, the Hotel Henry, it burnt down. And you remember that, right?
You remember a store named Huck's? I know there's a Huck's gas station, but I'm not sure about a store named Huck's.
We never had a store named Huck's in our area, but Huck's gas stations are all over, just like Casey's gas stations are all over. If that's the same Huck's that they're talking about.
And yeah, when we were kids, yes, Mr. B, they came out and checked your oil and did your windshield and did the gas, and you just sat in your car and did nothing.
We had my uncle, one of my uncles, worked at a gas station, and obviously you had full service back then where they pumped your gas, checked your fluids, washed your windshield, all that stuff.
They did.
Every gas station in town was that way, and especially everybody liked my uncle's the best because of his I don't know, attention to detail or whatever, but then if we went out of town to go out shopping or go somewhere else from our small town, my dad hated going there, but they had the cheapest gas or whatever. But the only reason he didn't like going there was because he always called it the skunk gas station because the dollar bill smelled like gas all the time. No matter when you went there, or whenever you got change or dollar bills or whatever, Dad hated it. He'd always try to pay the exact amount because he didn't want the money because it just stunk so bad. course, it was an automobile place. They did repair, just like all the gas stations in the day. They fixed cars, and so the mechanics and whoever was pumping your gas would count. So their greasy hands, or the gas all over, would get on the dollar bill. So, but yeah, Dad called it the skunk gas station.
The skunk gas station.
Because all their bills you get back from them smelled like gas and oil. But I like the smell of gas and oil, so I don't know where Dad evidently didn't like it, I guess, but I like the smell of gas.
I don't like the smell of gas.
Always loved it. Gunpowder and gas. Always loved it. I should have been a pyro, I guess.
Oh my.
Love the smell of firecrackers or gunpowder or shooting rifles. Always loved that smell, and I don't know why I like the smell of gas. I've always liked it as a kid, even back when gas was gas, though. Huh? What?
Trying to read Mr. B's. Rockingham Hudson used to be a service station attendant before he became famous.
Rock Hudson? The movie star Rock Hudson? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, it might be Rock Hudson. And y'all are sweet. Enjoyed everyone's company, taking my sweet dog out and going to bed. Well, thank you so much for coming in,
thanks for being here, Lantern.
Thank you. We'll be here every Wednesday night to hang out with you guys, and then Sundays with our guests. Huck Store, I read, was built on the former site of Shelley's service station that burnt a few years earlier somewhere in Illinois.
Boy, Shelley's.
The first Huck Store, maybe up around Chicago area. Might have been up there.
I don't even know what Shelley's is unless it's Shell.
Shelley's service station. That don't ring a bell around.
First Huck Store. I didn't know the Huck Store started in Illinois. But I don't ever remember seeing Hucks growing up. And I don't. We didn't have Casey's either.
1983. I was out of high school.
Yeah, so was I.
Hayworth.
Oh, Hayworth, Illinois. Yeah, I know where Hayworth is.
That's up around Chicago, right?
No.
Where's Hayworth? South?
Past Bloomington, heading toward Champaign.
Oh, okay. Over in that area. Typo, Rock Hudson. The spell check put my hometown name.
That's funny. Yeah, Rock Hudson.
Wow. Maybe that's what you gotta do, is find out all these famous people what their first jobs were before they got famous.
And what their real names are.
Oh.
It's like John Wayne's isn't really John Wayne. And
what county was Hazley's in?
Marshall County. Halsey's.
Jeez, what's going on up there? Sound like they're having a party.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's a dog or a cat. Or both.
Marshall County. But growing up, we had a Shell, Standard, Hicks. I believe Hicks was a gas station.
Texaco.
Did
you have a Sunoco?
We did have a Sunoco.
Yeah, we had a Sunoco.
Sunoco was out by where Subway is, out by the highway. That's what was originally.
Oh, that was Sunoco?
That was Sunoco. But I think some of them changed names. I think one of them was like a Phillips 66, and then we had a Sunoco, and Standard, I believe, was always Standard. And
I remember Standard.
I think one
Before
of
they
them at
tore it
one
down.
time might have been a Sinclair, which was the dinosaur, but I don't remember the dinosaur being on any of the logos or anything.
Yeah, when I moved to town, Standard was still there before they tore it down and put the bank up.
So I think at one time we had 1, 2, 4. I as a kid, I remember at least 4 operating gas stations.
Wow.
In our small town, and 3 grocery stores, and I think let me see,
I think there's 3 gas stations when I moved to town, but then there's 3 grocery stores, the one out by the highway that's a restaurant.
7. I think we had it's hard for me to remember. I'm trying to picture where they all are in my mind.
FS. That was a gas station for a while.
FS wasn't there
when you were a kid, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, FS itself, I don't think was in that building. FS was around, but they didn't. But then they started that store and they started selling gas. But that was way before all. That was way after all these other ones. Well, Halsey's probably would have been in early 1900s or later. I was born in 1963, and it was still in existence, but it was on its downhill, almost done. So definitely, probably the 50s or 40s.
Age of Gerald.
Age of Gerald. That'd be a good book. That would be a good show. Age of Gerald. 6 Degrees of Gerald.
9 service stations.
So I think at the time, if I remember right, I think we had 6 or 7 in our small town, and we only had 2,500 people. But there was a lot of farmers and all that stuff for the area. But and some of them did. That's how FS started. Some of them, like Hicks, that's how they started. They delivered natural gas and petroleum, all that stuff to the farmers and all the areas. And Gerald's Arsenal.
Gerald's Arsenal.
So we probably had 5 or 6 gas stations, at least 7 churches that I can remember growing up, and some of them obviously have been torn down or gone. Most of them.
What fires him up?
Let's throw some gas on it. See what burns. So at least
she asked for it.
At least 3 grocery stores in our small town that I know of, but there was more, obviously, growing up. And some of them might not have been around when the other ones were there, or maybe they just started when the other ones were, I don't know. Two car dealerships, a Ford and a Chevy or Chevrolet. But there was a third one at one time, and that was the old one that originally did old cars like Model Ts or whatever the original cars that first came around, and they did horse carriages before that. And that's where the old Henry Police Department is. So where across from Murphy's or the grocery store, that building that was City Hall and Police Department.
Used to be.
That's where the original car dealership was, in the carriage.
Oh, really?
The carriage store.
Huh. Dadgummit.
What'd you forget already?
Yeah, what'd you forget, Cat? I already forgot from laughing.
So what else did we have? We had one newspaper.
How about restaurants?
Restaurants growing up, I don't remember any restaurants. I
Yeah,
know
but
they're there.
was it
We just didn't go to
uh,
restaurants.
Strawberry Lane or whatever that was called? Or wasn't that down there? When
Well,
you
that's the soda. That was the malt shop or the soda shop.
Oh, that was a malt shop.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
Strawberry Lane was the malt shop.
okay. I just know
The
old people always talked about it.
pharmacy you could get Cokes and sandwiches at also. They had a little counter, but it wasn't nothing fancy like a restaurant or the malt shop. But other than sit down restaurants, I mean, thinking about it, I can't remember ever going to anyone in town. I never. The Strawberry Lane was closed when I was there when I was growing up.
Marina wasn't there when you were a kid?
The marina was there.
Was it a restaurant?
Later, I don't remember it as a little kid ever going there to eat or anything or going there, but I know growing up, like when I was later in grade school, I know the marina was there because my friend's family had a boat in the marina.
We don't, Terry. We don't have a Chinese restaurant.
We have never had a Chinese restaurant ever as far as
our little town. And then 20 minutes away used to have one, and that closed up.
We never had a pizza place growing up. Actually, we never had any store like that. Any specialized, never any specialized.
Until Joe? Huh? Joe was the first one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, we never had one.
Yeah, we didn't
have to drive out of town. And actually, there wasn't very many around even then, even close to drive to. I mean, obviously, there was no Pizza Huts or none of that stuff for a long time.
Shakey's. What happened to the good old Shakey's?
Shakey's, the first Shakey's I ever ate at was in Bloomington, Illinois.
Yeah, no more Shakey's pizza. Wonder if there is any around, or they close every single one up. I know there's none around here. Shakey's. Those Shakey's or Pizza Hut?
So yeah, we never we had an A&W, obviously. So growing up, that was there.
You know, Terry, we live in a tiny little farm town that's surrounded by bean fields and cornfields. So we weren't big enough for a Chinese restaurant.
So you could go to the drive-in, the drive A&W root beer stand. But they did have a sit-down area, but I don't know if that got added later.
Oh yeah, the A&W root beer place in the corner.
Yeah, so that was there. I remember growing up.
Let's see what Cat said. Pulled his finger.
Oh.
We don't get milk bars these days.
We never had what was I thinking of?
Is that what you call it over there? Is milk bars?
Oh.
And we called it fountains and like a soda fountain. Milk bars.
I don't know what a milk bar is.
No, what I mean, it must be an Australian term.
So we never had a roller rink. We had to go 30 or 40 or 50 miles away to go roller skating once we came age, but we did have a ice skating rink downtown that they would make every year in the Central Park. The city would do it.
Wonder why they stopped that.
Huh?
Wonder why they stopped that. Or the kids just lost interest?
Insurance and
yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably insurance too.
Well, you could go there on a weekend or go to, and it wasn't enclosed in a building. It was out in the open, actual ice on park grass. I mean, they'd build up the edges and the rims, and they would flood it and it'd freeze, and you would skate on it. And the mothers or some kind of organization would have hot chocolate or coffee for everybody. And so I don't know if it was the Rotary Club or the Knights of Columbus or any of that stuff. I don't know who did it. Could have been the American Legion, as far as I know. But as long as I can remember as a kid, we always had an ice skating rink during the winter.
Wow. I lived out in the country. And Mr. B was meaning milkshakes.
Oh, milkshakes. All right.
And then Cat says, a cafe serving milk? Oh, the old-fashioned Baskin Robbins.
Yeah, we never had. We had the malt shop, but it wasn't a Baskin Robbins. This was a mom and pop place, and you can get obviously cheeseburgers, fries, all the normal milk shop things to go along with malts and shakes. Never had a fast food place ever until Subway was the first thing that was even close to a fast food.
And only had that for 6 years or so, and it closed up. So we lost our fast food restaurant.
So the closest thing to fast food was Steak and Shake, and you had to go to Peoria to get that. Then my first ever McDonald's was in Peoria that mom and dad took us to for the first time ever, was in Peoria, McDonald's. And then the same thing with Burger King was in Peoria.
Cat lived in Indiana a couple times.
Really? Indiana's a good state.
Windfall and Sharpsville.
I guess it depends on I guess it's like any state. It depends on if you're in a big city or a smaller town or what part of the state you're in.
Now you're a dog.
Yep. Always had 2 or 3 funeral parlors. At least 6 or 7 churches. Definitely 4 or 5 bars, if not more, I guess. So I don't know which outnumbered which, or if there was more. They always say you can tell your town by how many churches compared to bars, or how many bars compared to churches. I think there was about the same amount. There might have been more bars at one time. I don't know, because I don't remember the history of the town that well for bars, but
I think
quite a few and a lot of churches.
I think a lot of small towns had a bunch of bars, is what kept everybody busy on the weekends because they didn't drive out of town.
Well, that's like I was talking about restaurants. There could have been restaurants in town that people went to, but our family always ate at home.
Right.
So we always, growing up, we never, unless we went to church or somewhere out of town, because we'd go to church a lot of times out of town when I was older, then we'd go to like Peoria or somewhere, and mom and dad would do shopping, and obviously I was the last kid still at home. So we would go to Burger King or Bonanza or Steak and Shake or wherever. But as far as going out, because mom didn't cook or anything, that never happened. Breakfast, lunch, and supper was always
at home.
Always at home.
Mm-hmm. We didn't eat out much when I was a kid.
Then we never went out for anniversaries or birthdays. We didn't go out to restaurants then either. We went to a family member's house, whether it was my aunt and uncle's or our house or whoever part of the family for the gathering or the wedding or whatever. We always went to somebody's house. Yeah, a lot of snow. Indiana had big snows, just like Illinois, the whole Midwest, Ohio. So I don't remember restaurants other than the A&W when I was older as a kid, getting taken to A&W after a baseball game or a little league game, or to get a root beer and a burger or something. Or
Mr. B says Burger King in Australia is called Hungry Jack's.
Hungry Jack's. Wow.
Wow, there's a lot of snow.
Yeah, it would be growing up, we didn't really have that problem about the drifts or the snow. We had high snow. We had 4 or 5 feet of snow growing up. That was nothing for us in Illinois, even.
Oh, we don't get that anymore. Like
We don't get it, but the way our house that we lived in, we didn't have the snow coming up against our house, I guess I should say, because we lived in town, and whether it was natural blocks or bushes or whatever kept it away from the house. But
And we barely got any snow this year. Yeah, I'll take Burger King over McDonald's any day.
I was just thinking about that, going to a Burger King. We like Wendy's. We like Burger King.
They're closing up around here. It's so hard to find a Burger King.
Well, I think the one that I used to stop at is still there. I don't know. On the way home, we'd have to drive a little ways to go to it, but I don't know. We'd have to check.
I'm not sure if I should be hungry or cold.
Yeah.
We're talking about food or snow.
Yeah.
Well, good night, Claudette. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to
Yeah,
be
thanks.
heading out here soon, too.
Yeah, I think we're about done. We've been on for almost 3.5 hours. So,
And Mr. B's making us hungry, so we're going to have to go upstairs and find a snack.
yeah.
We call McDonald's Macca's.
Macca's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Macca's.
Like the Macca's.
We say Mickey D.
We say Mickey D. Or McDonald's, but Mickey D.
No, I can't stand it. Just don't take them away yet.
So our not new necessarily, but our favorite place to go now, instead of going to a McDonald's or whatever, we'll go to a Culver's.
Yeah, Culver's is good. Reminds me of the good old Steak and Shakes.
Which we did go to a Steak and Shake the other day because we wanted to reminisce and go to a Steak and Shake, but they only had a kiosk. You can only order through their kiosk, even though the gal was right there. Says, I can help you anytime you want. I said, well, just take my order then. She goes, no, you got to use the kiosk. So I said, no, we're not doing that. We left.
We left. That's not the old-fashioned Steak and Shake. You can go in and sit in the old booths, and
Well, first of all,
they changed it on us.
I'd rather talk to a waitress or get my order taken by a waitress, or at least somebody as you walk in the door behind the counter. But I like electronics. I like stuff like that, but I am not gonna touch a touch screen at 1,000 people, or people that just got out of the bathroom probably went up and touched the. And I'm not a germaphobe necessarily. I could care less one way or another, but at the same time, it's like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, we want to go in the Steak and Shake of the old-fashioned waitress and their booths, and they changed it.
I mean, we used to go in there all the time and sit down, and the waitress would come along and get your drink order, and then come back with that, then ask what you want to eat or whatever. And bring the food out to you. But now you just got to order off a kiosk, and at least that restaurant. I don't know if all of them are changing to it or not. Or
in the Philippines, they called it McDot. Why with a T? Why McDot?
yeah, where'd the dot come from?
Where'd the T come from? McDot. McDo?
Well, I can get the McDonald's,
McDod?
I can get the do part out of Donald,
McDon?
but not the T. I don't know where the T comes from. Because the first part of McDonald's is MCDO, but I don't know where the T comes from.
Maybe he can explain it.
I don't know. Like I said, we're getting ready to stop anyway.
Yeah. It's been 3.5 hours.
He has no idea. He has no idea where it came from.
McDot. Huh.
Anyway, thank you all for coming. We love you. We're just going to call tonight, and hopefully next week goes a little smoother in the middle than this week did, or we'll just take care of it a lot faster and not let it ruin the mood of the chat. But
it didn't really ruin it. It's just
fun talking with you all.
It just interfered a little bit. That's all. We probably should have taken care of it sooner.
And I don't care. You can ask questions, you can give input, but I just think he was being difficult and
no, it's the same person.
Trying to cause trouble, but I don't know.
I know it's the same person. The way they were talking, it's the same person we've been dealing with 3 times a week. So.
But anyway, thank you all for coming. We love you. And
thank you for your patience.
If you guys that are moderators, if you see somebody like that we don't necessarily catch, just take care of it for us, please. But that's all right. It is what it is, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Yep, or see you Friday and Saturday.
Saturday. We'll see you Friday and Saturday, hopefully on Rumble. Love you guys.
Love you.
Keep looking up.
And keep your vibrations high.